Have you ever placed your hand over your heart and felt that ancient rhythm, that pulse that echoes the very first waves that lapped against Earth's primordial shores? Can you feel, right now, in this moment, the salt in your blood that remembers the ocean from which all life emerged? Every tear you've ever shed carries the memory of those ancient seas. Have you ever wondered why you shiver when cold whispers across your skin? Why tiny bumps rise on your arms when fear or wonder touches you? Why your body knows to do things your mind has never learned? What would it feel like to discover that within you, within the very architecture of your flesh and bone, lies a library of solutions to problems solved across billions of years? That every heartbeat, every breath, every emotion you feel is an echo of triumphs won in deep time. If journeys through deep time bring you the same wonder they bring me, if you find peace in these ancient memories, please consider liking and subscribing to Follow Along for more. And if someone you care about might appreciate drifting through Earth's memories as they drift off to sleep, why not share this gift of wonder with them? I'd love to know where in the world you're listening from tonight and what time you're settling in for this journey. Leave a comment below. Let me know what corner of our modern Earth you call home, and if there are other moments in deep time you'd like to explore together. Other ancient memories you'd like me to share. Tell me in the comments. Your suggestions guide our future travels. But for now, let's leave the modern world behind. Settle in now. Let the weight of your day become a distant memory. Breathe in the quiet of your room, and with your exhale, let the present moment gently drift away. We are not bound by clocks or calendars tonight. Together, we will step outside of time to a place I remember well, a world waiting in the deep past. I am the Chrononaut, and I have drifted through the ages like smoke through still air. Tonight, I invite you on the most intimate journey we have ever taken, not to some distant corner of the ancient Earth, but into the deep history written in your very bones, flowing in your blood, encoded in every cell of your being. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Feel yourself becoming lighter, untethered from this moment, ready to slip between the seconds and find yourself in a time before time was counted. Place your hand over your heart. Feel that rhythm, that beat that never stops, that has never stopped, not since the first moment of your existence. That pulse connects you to something far older than you might imagine. Tonight, we will follow that rhythm backward through the corridors of deep time to discover when and why your body learned to beat, to breathe, to feel, to love. Come with me now. Let us cross the threshold together. We stand now at a peculiar vantage point, not in space, but in time itself. Before us lies the human form, your form, but we see it not as solid flesh, but as layers of time made manifest. Like an ancient city built upon the ruins of countless civilizations before it, your body is an architecture of solutions, each system an organ, a monument to challenges conquered in the depths of prehistory. I have witnessed it all. Every innovation, every adaptation, every beautiful accident that led to you. Tonight, I will share these memories, and you will understand at last why you are built the way you are, why you shiver and sweat, why you laugh and cry, why your heart races with fear and swells with love. Look closely at yourself, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. Feel the weight of billions of years in your bones. Sense the ancient oceans in your blood. Know that you are not merely a person living in this moment, but a living archive of Earth's greatest experiments. We will journey backward through 7 great movements of your construction, unraveling the mystery of your existence thread by ancient thread, from the spark of cooperation that allowed your cells to work as one, to the social symphony that taught you to love and be loved. But first, we must go back to the very beginning, to the moment when the pattern that would become you first stirred in the warm waters of the young Earth. 3.8 billion years ago, here, in the warm shallows of the Archean Ocean, I witnessed something that will echo through all future time. A single cell, not the first, but the one that matters to our story, floats in the mineral-rich waters. This is your deepest ancestor, the one from which all life will spring. Luca, we call it now, the last universal common ancestor. I watch as this cell prepares for what it has done countless times before, division. But this time will be different. This time, something extraordinary will happen. The cell splits, becoming two. But instead of drifting apart as all cells have done before, these two remain close. They touch. And in that touch lies the seed of everything you are. Can you feel it? That ancient memory buried in every one of your 37 trillion cells. Each one remembers what it was like to be alone, to be complete unto itself. Yet here they are, choosing to stay together, choosing cooperation over independence. I drift through millions of years, watching this experiment unfold. 2 cells become 4, 4 become 8. Small colonies form, like floating cities in the primordial sea. And then, the first specialization. One cell in the colony changes, becomes different. It will handle one task while its sisters handle others. This is the contract written into your very being. The agreement that says I will give up my independence, my ability to be everything, and in return, I will be part of something greater. Every cell in your body honors this ancient pact. Your heart cells forgot how to digest food, so they could perfect the rhythm of pumping. Your neurons gave up division, so they could specialize in carrying thought. Feel your breathing right now. That simple act requires millions of cells working in perfect coordination. Muscle cells in your diaphragm, contracting in unison. Cells in your lungs expanding to receive the air. Blood cells waiting to carry oxygen. Neural cells coordinating it all without your conscious thought. This is the legacy of that first decision to stay together. But cooperation brought vulnerability. A single cell can survive almost anything. Dry it out, freeze it, starve it, and it endures. But a collective, it needs constant communication. It needs trust. It needs each part to honor the bargain. This is why cancer frightens us so deeply. It's a cell forgetting the ancient contract, deciding to be independent again, to grow without limit. Your immune system is the police force that patrols for these rebels, these cells that remember too well what it was like to be free. I watch through the eons as this cooperation becomes more elaborate. Chemical signals evolve, the first hormones, allowing cells to whisper to each other across the darkness of the body's interior. Food is coming, they say. Danger approaches. It's time to rest. These same chemical whispers flow through you now. When you feel suddenly alert, it's adrenaline carrying an ancient message. The colony is threatened. When you feel drowsy as evening falls, it's melatonin whispering. The sun has set, time for the colony to rest and repair. By 2 billion years ago, I witnessed the next revolution. Some cells engulf others, but instead of digesting them, they keep them alive inside. These captive cells become mitochondria, the power plants that fuel your every thought, every movement, every heartbeat. Even now, they maintain their own DNA, remembering their independence while powering your existence. Feel the warmth of your body right now. That heat comes from trillions of mitochondria, descendants of ancient free-living bacteria, now working ceaselessly to keep you alive. They burn the food you eat in tiny cellular furnaces, creating the energy that powers consciousness itself. The architecture of cooperation becomes more complex. Cells begin to form sheets and tubes. The first true tissues emerge. What began as a loose federation of individuals becomes a nation, a body. And with true multicellular life comes death. For the first time, organisms can die while their cells live on. Your cells know this ancient bargain too. They will die so that you may live. Every day, billions of your cells choose death. Your skin cells, having reached the surface, die to become a protective barrier. Your red blood cells, after exactly 120 days of service, allow themselves to be recycled. This programmed death, apoptosis, is not a failure, but a promise kept, the ultimate cooperation. And so the foundation was laid. From that first moment when two cells chose to remain together, the path to you was set. Every tissue in your body honors this first innovation. Your muscles are cells that learn to pull together. Your bones are cells that agree to surround themselves with stone. Your brain is cells that specialized in connection, creating a network that could, eventually, contemplate its own existence. But cells needed distribution. They needed a way to share resources, to communicate across distances greater than chemical whispers could travel. And so, the next great innovation began. I remember watching the first attempts at creating internal rivers, simple channels in colonial organisms where seawater could flow, bringing the ocean's bounty to cells deep within. These weren't true circulatory systems yet, merely the suggestion of what would come. But even this simple innovation changed everything. Cells that had once needed direct contact with the environment could now live protected inside, specialized for tasks other than feeding. The sponges still use this ancient design. No blood, no vessels, just channels where water flows through their bodies. But already I could see the potential. What if the fluid could be controlled? What if it could be enriched beyond what simple seawater offered? What if it could carry not just food, but information? Feel the pulse in your temples right now. That throbbing is the echo of evolution's answer to these questions. Your circulatory system is a sealed network, a private ocean that never touches the outside world, yet brings the outside world to every cell. This isolation was revolutionary. It meant the internal environment could be controlled, optimized, protected. I watched as the first true hearts evolved from simple contractile vessels, worms with multiple small hearts along their length, pushing fluid forward in waves, mollusks with 3-chambered hearts, 2 collecting, 1 pumping. Each design an experiment in motion, in pressure, in flow. Your own heart's design tells the story of your ancestry. 4 chambers. A design that emerged when your ancestors needed to separate oxygen-rich blood from oxygen-poor, when the demands of land required more efficient circulation than any fish had ever needed. The right side of your heart is essentially a fish heart, pumping to what were once gills. The left side is the innovation of land animals, creating pressure enough to push blood to distant extremities, up against gravity to your brain. Place your fingers on your wrist and count your pulse for 10 seconds. Multiply by 6. That's your heart rate per minute, probably somewhere between 60 and 80 if you're at rest. This rate is not arbitrary. Smaller animals have faster hearts. A mouse's races at 500 beats per minute. A hummingbird's can exceed 1200. Larger animals beat slower. An elephant's heart thumps just 30 times per minute. Your heart rate places you precisely where you belong on the spectrum of life. But why does your heart never tire? Your skeletal muscles exhaust after minutes of intense use. Yet your heart beats 100,000 times per day, 35 million times per year, 2.5 billion times in a lifetime, never stopping to rest. The answer lies in the unique properties of cardiac muscle. Cells that are striped like skeletal muscle for strength, but interconnected like smooth muscle for coordination. Each cell is linked to its neighbors by gap junctions, allowing electrical signals to spread like wildfire, ensuring perfect synchronization. Your heart has its own pacemaker, the sinoatrial node, a cluster of cells that spontaneously generate electrical impulses. This biological metronome can function even outside your body, continuing its rhythm when all neural input is severed. It's adjusted by your nervous system, but not dependent on it. A backup system ensuring that even if your brain fails, your heart continues. I've watched hearts adapt to extraordinary circumstances. Diving mammals whose hearts slow to near stopping, conserving oxygen for hour-long descents, hibernating animals whose hearts beat just once per minute in winter's depths, athletes whose hearts grow larger, stronger, more efficient through training. Your heart is not fixed but responsive, capable of remodeling itself to meet your life's demands. The blood itself tells stories within stories. Your red blood cells are unique among mammals. They have no nucleus. This isn't a defect, but an adaptation. By ejecting their nuclei upon maturation, these cells can carry more hemoglobin, transport more oxygen. It's a one-way journey, unable to repair themselves or divide. They live exactly 120 days before being recycled by your spleen. Right now, as you sit quietly, about 2 million red blood cells are dying in your body every second, and 2 million more are being born in the marrow of your bones. This constant turnover means your blood is never more than 4 months old, continuously renewed, forever young even as you age. Your blood type tells another tale. The ABO system that determines compatibility is an ancient polymorphism, present in our ancestors millions of years ago. Type O, the universal donor, is the oldest. A and B arose as mutations, possibly in response to different disease pressures. Your blood type is a flag of your deep ancestry, a marker of which ancient population you descend from. White blood cells patrol your circulation like an ancient navy. Each type specialized for different threats. Neutrophils, the first responders, living just hours but ready to die fighting invaders. Lymphocytes, the memory keepers, some living for decades, remembering every pathogen you've encountered. Macrophages, the devourers, eating debris and invaders alike, cleaning your blood of cellular wreckage. Feel any small cut or bruise on your body. At that site, an ancient cascade is underway. Platelets, those cellular fragments, are gathering, becoming sticky, plugging the breach. Clotting factors, proteins with names like prothrombin and fibrinogen, are activating in sequence, weaving protein nets to trap blood cells. This system is so complex it seems impossible, yet it evolved step by careful step, each addition improving on what came before. Your blood pressure tells me stories of gravity and posture. When your ancestors moved from horizontal swimmers to vertical walkers, circulation faced new challenges. Blood had to be pushed up against gravity to reach the brain, yet not pool in the legs. Valves in your veins, muscle pumps in your calves, reflexes that adjust vessel diameter. All innovations to solve the problem of being upright. The lymphatic system, blood shadow twin, evolved to reclaim what leaks from capillaries. This parallel circulation, discovered only centuries ago but millions of years in the making, returns fluid to your blood, filters out pathogens, creates immune cells. Your lymph nodes, those small lumps that swell when you're sick, are military bases where white blood cells gather to plan their defense. Even the color of your blood connects you to the cosmos. The iron that makes it red was forged in supernovae, stellar explosions that scattered heavy elements through space. These iron atoms, incorporated into Earth as it formed, dissolved in ancient seas, were taken up by early life, and now circle through your body, carrying oxygen just as they've done for billions of years. Your blood maintains memories in molecular form. Antibodies circulating right now remember diseases you had as a child, ready to mount instant defense if those pathogens return. Some antibodies you carry were gifts from your mother, passed through the placenta or breast milk, giving you protection before your own immune system matured. Temperature regulation through blood flow reveals another layer of sophistication. When cold, vessels in your skin constrict, keeping warm blood deep. When hot, they dilate, bringing blood to the surface to radiate heat. The flush of exercise, the pallor of shock, the blush of embarrassment. All blood flow adjusting to meet moment-by-moment needs. Your blood sugar is maintained within narrow limits. Too low and your brain starves. Too high and proteins throughout your body become damaged. The dance between insulin and glucagon, between storage and release, happens continuously, below consciousness. When you haven't eaten for hours, your liver releases glucose it stored from your last meal. When you feast, excess sugar is locked away for future need. The blood-brain barrier represents one of evolution's most careful constructions. Your brain, that delicate neural network, needs protection from toxins and pathogens that might circulate in blood. Specialized cells line brain capillaries, their tight junctions creating a selective barrier. Only certain molecules can pass: glucose for energy, amino acids for neurotransmitter construction, but not bacteria, not most drugs, not large proteins that might disrupt neural function. As I watch blood cells tumbling through your vessels, I see the solution to an ancient problem: how to be large yet responsive, how to have specialized organs yet keep them coordinated, how to maintain a stable internal environment while living in a changeable world. Your blood is the answer written in liquid, a flowing tissue that unites your body's far-flung territories into a single nation. But circulation was only part of the solution. Life needed to extract resources from the environment more efficiently than simple diffusion allowed. And when the environment changed, when water gave way to air, the challenge became even greater. 2.5 billion years ago, I float in the ancient ocean, watching the drama that will shape the river of life within you. The sea is different now, richer in minerals, teeming with simple life. And it is here, in these waters, that your blood was born. Listen to your heartbeat again. Place your hand on your wrist and find your pulse. That rhythm you feel? It carries the memory of waves on an ancient shore. For your blood is nothing less than a portable ocean, carried within the vessel of your body. The first circulatory systems were not systems at all, merely channels carved by chance through colonial organisms. Seawater flowed through these passages, bringing nutrients, carrying away waste. Even now, your blood plasma, the liquid part of your blood, has almost the exact same concentration of salt as the ocean of 3 billion years ago. You cry tears of ancient seawater. Your sweat is the memory of primordial tides. I watch as evolution experiments with moving fluid through bodies. Some creatures try cilia, tiny hairs that wave in coordination, pushing fluid along. Others develop tubes that squeeze in waves, the first peristaltic motion. But the true revolution comes with the development of a dedicated pump. The first hearts were simple tubes that contracted rhythmically. I witnessed their emergence in creatures barely visible to the eye, transparent bodies where I can see the fluid pulsing through primitive vessels. Contract, relax, contract, relax. The rhythm that would count out the moments of every complex life to come. Your heart is the descendant of these first pumps, but evolved into something magnificent. Feel it beating now, not a simple squeeze, but a complex four-chambered symphony. The right side pumps blood to your lungs, the left side to your body. Two circuits running simultaneously, never mixing, yet perfectly coordinated. But why is blood red? I remember when this too was determined. Iron, forged in the hearts of dying stars, scattered through space, gathered into the forming earth, dissolved in the ancient seas. Life discovered that iron could grab oxygen, hold it, carry it. Hemoglobin was born, the protein that would make complex life possible. Each red blood cell in your body is a tiny ship, carrying 270 million hemoglobin molecules. Each hemoglobin can carry 4 oxygen molecules. Right now, as you breathe, trillions upon trillions of these molecular sailors are loading and unloading their precious cargo, keeping the fires of your cells burning. I drift forward through time, watching circulation become more sophisticated. Arteries develop, thick-walled vessels to handle the pressure of the heart's push. Veins evolve valves to prevent backflow, helping blood climb against gravity back to the heart. And capillaries, vessels so thin that red blood cells must squeeze through in single file, ensuring that no cell in your body is more than a few cells away from the life-giving flow. But circulation brought new challenges. How to prevent leaks when vessels are damaged? I witnessed the evolution of clotting, a cascade of chemical reactions so complex it seems impossible it could have emerged by chance. Yet emerge it did, step by careful step. Platelets that could stick together, proteins that could form meshes, a system that could seal a breach in seconds while knowing when to stop, before the entire river turned solid. Your blood carries more than oxygen and nutrients. It is a highway for information. Hormones cruise through your arteries like messages in bottles. White blood cells patrol like an ancient navy, seeking invaders. Antibodies remember diseases your ancestors survived, their molecular memory passed down through generations. Feel the pulse in your neck right now. That's your carotid artery, feeding your brain with a constant supply of oxygen and glucose. Your brain is so hungry for these resources that it gets first priority. 20% of your blood flow for an organ that makes up only 2% of your body weight. This rich blood supply is what allowed consciousness to emerge. But there's something else remarkable about your circulation, something that connects you to the deepest history of life. Your blood is slightly alkaline, pH 7.4 to be exact. This is not arbitrary. This is the pH of the ancient ocean when complex life first emerged. Your body fights constantly to maintain this exact pH, because your proteins, evolved in that ancient sea, still expect to find themselves in those conditions. When you hold your breath, carbon dioxide builds up in your blood, making it slightly more acidic. Your brain, monitoring this change, creates the urgent need to breathe. This is your body protecting the ancient ocean within you, maintaining the conditions of a sea that dried up billions of years ago. Temperature, too, is carefully controlled. Your blood distributes heat, warming your extremities, cooling your core. When you're cold, blood vessels in your skin constrict, keeping the warm blood deep inside. When you're hot, they dilate, bringing blood to the surface to radiate heat away. This is why you flush when warm, why your hands turn pale when cold. The average adult carries about 5 liters of blood, 5 liters of ancient ocean, enriched and refined over billions of years. Every 60 seconds, this entire volume completes a circuit through your body. In a day, your heart pumps about 7,500 liters, enough to fill a small swimming pool. And this brings us to pressure. Feel your temples right now. If you press gently, you might feel a pulse. That pressure you sense is exactly calibrated. Too low, and blood wouldn't reach your brain when you stand. Too high, and delicate vessels would burst. Your body monitors and adjusts this pressure constantly, using sensors that evolved from simple pressure-detecting cells in ancient fish. When you stand up quickly and feel dizzy, that's your ancient ocean sloshing, taking a moment to adjust to the sudden change in gravity's pull. Your body quickly compensates. Vessels constrict, heart rate increases slightly, all to keep that vital flow to your brain. But blood needed somewhere to go, some purpose for its journey. It needed organs to feed, tissues to supply. And first among these was the system that would extract the life-giving gas from the environment. A system that would undergo one of evolution's most dramatic transformations. 450 million years ago, I hover in the warm waters of the Ordovician Sea, watching your ancestors, not yet fish, not quite worms, but something in between. They breathe water. It seems natural to them, as natural as the air feels to you now. But I know what's coming. I've seen the magnificent transformation that will turn these water breathers into air breathers, gill slits into lungs, the impossible made possible. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the air fill your lungs, the gentle expansion of your chest. This simple act connects you to one of evolution's greatest gambles, the decision to extract oxygen from air instead of water. Air contains 30 times more oxygen than water, but it presented a terrible challenge. How to keep delicate respiratory surfaces moist in a drying world. I watch your early ancestors developing the first gills, delicate feathers of tissue that wave in the water, extracting oxygen. These gills are miracles of engineering, with blood flowing in the opposite direction to water, maximizing oxygen extraction. Even now, in the womb, you briefly developed gill slits, a ghostly memory of this ancient architecture, before they reformed into the structures of your jaw and inner ear. But gills were not enough. As the Devonian period warms, I watch shallow seas retreat, leaving pools that shrink and grow stagnant. Oxygen levels drop. Your ancestors gasp in the shallows. And then, innovation born of desperation. Some develop a pocket, a simple sac connected to the gut, where they can gulp air, holding a bubble of atmosphere inside their bodies. This is your lungs' humble beginning. Not a breathing organ at first, but a backup, an emergency supply of oxygen. I watch through millions of years as this simple sac becomes more complex. Blood vessels cluster around it. Its surface area increases with folds and branches. What began as desperation becomes advantage. Do you know why you hiccup? That sudden spasm, that sharp intake of breath, followed by the closing of your glottis. It's a 370 million-year-old memory. Your ancestors, transitioning between water and air breathing, needed to quickly close their glottis to switch between gill breathing and lung breathing. The neural wiring for this ancient reflex remains, misfiring occasionally, causing this peculiar annoyance that connects you to the moment life first ventured onto land. I follow your ancestors as they emerge from the water, their swim bladders, organs for controlling buoyancy, transform into true lungs. But air presents new challenges. Water supports its own weight, air does not. These early lungs need structure, support. Ribs evolved to protect them, muscles to expand them. Feel your ribs right now, the gentle expansion and contraction with each breath. This cage of bone was once armor, protecting primitive fish from predators. Evolution repurposed it, turning defense into the mechanical framework for breathing. Your ribs don't just protect your lungs. They're an active part of the breathing mechanism, lifted by muscles that once helped fish swim. But the real marvel is inside your lungs. If you could unfold all the tiny air sacs, the alveoli, in your lungs, they would cover a tennis court. This massive surface area crammed into your chest is evolution's solution to the gas exchange problem. Each alveolus is wrapped in capillaries so fine that red blood cells squeeze through in single file, ensuring maximum contact between air and blood. Your breathing is both voluntary and involuntary, a unique duality. You can hold your breath, but not indefinitely. You can control your breathing rate, but if you forget to breathe, your body takes over. This is because breathing is controlled by some of the most ancient parts of your brain, parts you share with fish and amphibians, while conscious control came later with the evolution of higher brain functions. When you sleep, your breathing changes, becomes deeper, more regular. This is your body reverting to its most ancient pattern, the rhythm of the tides that once washed over your earliest ancestors. Even the sighs you occasionally take, those deep, satisfying breaths, serve an ancient purpose, fully inflating alveoli that might have partially collapsed, maintaining the architecture of gas exchange. But breathing is more than gas exchange. Your larynx, evolved from gill arches, gave you voice. The ability to control exhaled air, to vibrate vocal cords, to shape sound with tongue and lips, all built upon the foundation of breathing. Every word you speak is sculpted breath, every song a controlled exhalation. Feel the rhythm of your breathing now. In and out, in and out. This rhythm connects you to every air-breathing creature that ever lived. The same in and out that fills a bird's air sacs, that bellows through a whale's blowhole, that whispers through the spiracles of insects. Different solutions to the same problem: how to extract life from air. Your respiratory system remembers water too. The mucus that lines your airways is a portable ocean, keeping respiratory surfaces moist. When you get a cold and your nose runs, that's your body producing extra fluid to wash away invaders. A strategy as old as the first creatures that crawled from sea to shore. Even your cough reflex tells an ancient story. That explosive burst of air, designed to clear obstructions, is a reflex that protected the first air breathers from inhaling water or debris. The fact that it's so violent, so immediate, speaks to how critical it was for survival when lungs were new and vulnerable. And here's something wondrous. Every breath you take contains molecules breathed by every creature that ever lived. The oxygen entering your lungs right now might have been released by a cyanobacterium 2 billion years ago, breathed by a dinosaur 100 million years ago, exhaled by your own ancestors thousands of years ago. The atmosphere is a shared resource, constantly recycled, connecting all air breathers across time. But oxygen, for all its life-giving properties, is also dangerous. It's reactive, corrosive, Your cells needed protection from the very substance that gave them energy. This is why you have antioxidants, why your cells produce enzymes like catalase and superoxide dismutase, molecular shields against oxygen's darker nature. Consider the paradox. The same oxygen that powers your consciousness can damage your DNA, rust your proteins, destroy your cellular membranes. This is the price of energetic life. Managing a controlled burn that could, at any moment, become a destructive fire. Your ancestors who survived were those who developed the best fire control, the most sophisticated ways to harness oxygen's power while limiting its damage. Your lungs themselves are a compromise between surface area and protection. Those delicate alveoli, one cell thick, present an enormous vulnerability, a surface where the outside world directly contacts your bloodstream. This is why your respiratory system has so many defenses. Nose hairs filter large particles, mucus traps smaller ones. Cilia, tiny beating hairs, create an escalator that constantly moves debris up and out. Coughing explosively ejects larger intrusions. Sneezing clears the upper passages. Even your breathing rate tells evolutionary stories. At rest, you breathe 12 to 20 times per minute. Slower than your ancestors who lived in lower oxygen environments. Faster than would be optimal for pure efficiency. This rate represents a balance between getting enough oxygen and not losing too much carbon dioxide, between ventilating the lungs and not wasting energy. When you exercise, your breathing changes in sophisticated ways. First, you breathe deeper, using more of your lung capacity. Then faster, as oxygen demand outpaces what depth alone can provide. Your blood vessels in the lungs dilate, opening unused capillaries, increasing the surface area for gas exchange. This is why you can increase your oxygen uptake 20-fold during intense exercise. Your respiratory system has enormous reserve capacity. But breathing gave you something beyond gas exchange. It gave you voice. That moment when your ancestors first controlled exhaled air to communicate changed everything. I watched as simple alarm calls became complex vocalizations. The larynx, descended in humans unlike any other ape, created a resonating chamber that could produce an unprecedented range of sounds. Speak a single word aloud right now. That sound required coordination between your diaphragm, intercostal muscles, larynx, tongue, lips, and jaw. Hundreds of muscles working in millisecond precision to shape air into meaning. This is why speech develops so late in children. It requires neural control that takes years to mature. Your ability to speak is evolution's most recent major innovation, appearing just 300,000 years ago. Your sinuses, those hollow spaces in your skull that cause such misery when infected, serve multiple purposes evolved over millions of years. They lighten your skull, important when your ancestors first stood upright. They provide resonance for your voice. They warm and humidify incoming air. They produce nitric oxide, a gas that helps kill bacteria and improves oxygen uptake in your lungs. The fact that you can't breathe and swallow simultaneously is another consequence of evolution. Your larynx sits low in your throat, creating a shared passage for food and air. This arrangement, unique among mammals, is what allows your remarkable vocal range, but also creates the risk of choking. Every meal you eat passes dangerously close to your airway, a risk your ancestors accepted for the power of speech. Your respiratory system also reveals the history of your embryonic development. In the womb, your lungs are filled with fluid, and you practice breathing movements months before taking your first real breath. At birth, the most dramatic transition of your life occurs. from extracting oxygen from your mother's blood to breathing air. That first cry isn't just an announcement of arrival. It's your respiratory system inflating for the first time, fluid squeezed out, alveoli popping open like billions of tiny balloons. Yawning remains one of breathing's mysteries. You yawn when tired, but also when waking. You yawn when bored, but also when anxious. Others' yawning makes you yawn. Even reading about yawning can trigger the reflex. This contagious behavior, strongest in highly social species, might serve to synchronize group behavior, cooling brains collectively, preparing for transitions between activity and rest. Your ability to hold your breath reveals another layer of evolution. Unlike fish, which die within minutes without water flow over their gills, you can voluntarily stop breathing. This ability, crucial for diving, speaking, and singing, comes with built-in safety mechanisms. Carbon dioxide buildup creates an overwhelming urge to breathe. Eventually, even if you're unconscious, your body will override your will and force breathing to resume. High-altitude adaptation shows your respiratory system's flexibility. When oxygen drops, your body responds within minutes, breathing faster and deeper. Over days, you produce more red blood cells. Over generations, populations living at altitude develop larger lungs, more efficient oxygen processing, hearts that pump more powerfully. Tibetans and Andeans, separately evolved for altitude, found different solutions to the same problem. A textbook example of convergent evolution. Sleep apnea, that modern plague, reveals the vulnerabilities in our air-breathing design. When throat muscles relax too much during sleep, the airway collapses. For our ancestors who slept on the ground in varied positions, this was rarely a problem. But modern life, soft beds, weight gain, alcohol before sleep, has revealed this weakness in our design. Your body's response, waking you just enough to resume breathing, shows how critical continuous airflow is to survival. With breath came the need for coordination, for control, for a system that could respond quickly to the ever-changing demands of a mobile life. And so, the next great innovation emerged, a network of communication faster than chemical signals, more precise than hormones. 600 million years ago, in the Ediacaran Seas, I witnessed the birth of urgency. Life until now has been slow, patient, responding to the world through gradual chemical changes. But predation is emerging. For the first time, organisms need to react quickly, faster than hormones can travel, faster than chemical gradients can form. They need something revolutionary, the nervous system. Close your eyes and wiggle your toes. That simple command just traveled from your brain, down your spinal cord, out through peripheral nerves to the precise muscles needed for that movement. The signal moved at over 250 miles per hour, crossing synapses, activating specific pathways laid down by evolution over hundreds of millions of years. This is the electric web that makes you you. I watched the first nerve cells emerge, specialized cells that gave up division to become living wires. They developed the ability to generate electrical pulses, to pass signals from one to another. The first nervous systems are mere nets, scattered neurons with no central command. Jellyfish still use this ancient design, a distributed network with no brain, yet capable of coordinated movement. But bilateral animals, creatures with a front and back, needed more. They needed to know which end was leading, needed to process information from the direction of travel. I watched nervous tissue concentrate at the front end, the first hint of what will become brains. A simple swelling of neurons, nothing more, but it changes everything. Feel the back of your neck right now. Just beneath your fingers runs your spinal cord, a highway of white matter carrying millions of signals. This structure is older than bones, older than jaws. The first spinal cords were simple nerve bundles running along the backs of primitive chordates. Your vertebrae evolved later, armor to protect this vital communication line. Your spinal cord is not just a passive cable. It processes information, makes decisions. When you touch something hot and jerk away before you even feel pain, that's your spinal cord acting independently, processing the danger and initiating response before bothering to inform your brain. These reflexes are ancient wisdom, responses too important to wait for conscious thought. I drift forward through time, watching brains become more complex. The first true brains are merely enlarged ganglia, clusters of neurons that coordinate movement and process sensory information. But with the Cambrian explosion comes an arms race of nervous complexity. Predators need better ways to track prey. Prey need better ways to detect and evade predators. Your brainstem, the part that connects to your spinal cord, is essentially a 500-million-year-old fish brain, still performing the same vital functions. It controls your breathing, your heart rate, your sleep cycles. When you're in deep sleep, this ancient brain is all that's running, maintaining the basic functions of life just as it did for your earliest vertebrate ancestors. Above this sits what we call the limbic system, the mammalian brain. This is where your emotions live, where fear and pleasure are processed, where memories are formed. When you smell something and are suddenly transported to a childhood memory, that's your limbic system at work, connecting scent to emotion to memory in ways that bypass conscious thought. Touch your forehead. Beneath your fingers, behind that wall of bone, lies humanity's crown jewel, the neocortex. This wrinkled outer layer, just a few millimeters thick, is what makes you capable of reading these words, of imagining the past, of planning the future. It's the newest addition to the neural architecture, expanded dramatically in primates, exploded in humans. But here's what's remarkable. Your brain is not one unified thing. It's a committee of ancient systems, layered one atop another, sometimes cooperating, sometimes competing. When you want to eat healthy but crave sugar, that's your neocortex arguing with your limbic system. When you freeze in fear despite knowing you're safe, that's your brainstem overriding your rational mind. Your neurons themselves are marvels. Each one is essentially an analog computer, receiving thousands of inputs, integrating them, deciding whether to fire. The signal travels down the axon as an electrical wave, but at the synapse, the gap between neurons, it becomes chemical. Neurotransmitters drift across the gap like molecular messages. You have roughly 86 billion neurons, each connecting to thousands of others. The number of possible connections in your brain exceeds the number of atoms in the known universe. This vast network somehow generates consciousness, the subjective experience of being you. But consciousness didn't spring forth fully formed. I've watched its slow emergence. First, simple awareness, the ability to distinguish self from environment. Then memory, the capacity to learn from experience. Then planning, the power to imagine future states and work toward them. Finally, self-awareness, the mirror turned inward, the ability to think about thinking. Your consciousness is expensive. Your brain weighs just 3 pounds but uses 20% of your calories. This is why thinking hard actually makes you tired. You're burning energy at a prodigious rate. It's why you crave sugar when studying, why mental fatigue feels as real as physical exhaustion. Feel your thoughts right now. Notice how they arise, seemingly from nowhere. This is billions of neurons firing in patterns, creating the electrical storms that are your mental life. Even now, as you process these words, specific networks are activating. Wernicke's area is decoding meaning. Broca's area is subvocalizing the words. Your visual cortex is processing symbols into language. But your nervous system extends far beyond your brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nerves reach every corner of your body. Your gut has so many neurons, it's called the second brain, capable of functioning even when severed from the central nervous system. This is why you have gut feelings, why anxiety can cause stomach problems, why your digestive system seems to have moods of its own. And then there's pain, evolution's great teacher. Pain pathways are ancient, refined over hundreds of millions of years to keep creatures from damage. But humans are unique in anticipating pain, in fearing it before it arrives. Your consciousness transformed a simple warning signal into something that can dominate thoughts and shape behavior. Yet your nervous system also grants pleasure, perhaps evolution's greatest invention. The rush of dopamine when you achieve a goal, the flood of endorphins during exercise, the cascade of oxytocin during intimate moments. These are rewards for behaviors that helped your ancestors survive and reproduce. Your mirror neurons fire both when you perform an action and when you watch others perform the same action. This is the basis of empathy, of learning through observation, of feeling another's pain or joy as if it were your own. These neurons make culture possible, allowing knowledge to pass from mind to mind without genetic transfer. Sleep reveals the strange nature of consciousness. Each night, your awareness dissolves, yet your brain remains highly active, consolidating memories, solving problems, generating the strange theater of dreams. The fact that consciousness can be turned off and on like a light switch hints at its constructed nature. I've watched the evolution of sleep itself, from simple rest periods to the complex architecture of modern sleep. Your sleep cycles in 90-minute waves, each containing stages that serve different purposes. In deep sleep, your neurons fire in synchronized waves, like ocean breakers washing over the beach of consciousness. This synchronization allows experiences to be transferred from temporary storage in the hippocampus to permanent residence in the cortex. Dreams fascinate me still, after all these eons. REM sleep, when most vivid dreams occur, paralyzes your voluntary muscles, while your brain runs wild simulations. I've seen this same pattern in mammals and birds, suggesting dreams emerged at least 300 million years ago. What evolutionary pressure made dreams so important that nearly every complex brain experiences them? Your dreams may be threat rehearsal, allowing you to practice dangerous situations safely. They may be random firings as the brain cleans house, discarding useless connections. They may be the brain's way of finding unexpected connections, solving problems through impossible scenarios. Perhaps they serve all these functions, and more we haven't yet understood. But consciousness itself remains the deepest mystery. Somewhere in the firing patterns of your neurons, subjective experience emerges. You don't just process red light at 700 nanometers. You experience the redness of red. You don't just detect sound waves at 440 Hertz. You hear the note A. This qualitative experience, what philosophers call qualia, arises from quantitative neural activity in ways that still escape understanding. Think about thinking for a moment. That ability to be aware of your own awareness, to think about your thoughts, represents the newest layer of consciousness. Metacognition, this thinking about thinking, may be uniquely human or shared with just a few other species. It's what allows you to plan, to regret, to imagine futures that don't yet exist. Your brain's energy consumption reveals the cost of consciousness. Though just 2% of your body weight, your brain uses 20% of your oxygen, 25% of your glucose. This massive energy requirement is why you can't think clearly when hungry, why mental fatigue feels as real as physical exhaustion. Complex thought is metabolically expensive. The blood-brain barrier I mentioned earlier does more than protect. It maintains a unique chemical environment for neural function. Your neurons are prima donnas, requiring exactly the right conditions to function. Too much or too little of any ion, any neurotransmitter, any nutrient, and thinking becomes impaired. This is why drugs that affect the brain must be carefully designed to cross this barrier. Your brain's plasticity continues throughout life, though it peaks in youth. Every experience you have physically rewires your neural connections. Learning to play an instrument thickens the motor cortex. London taxi drivers, memorizing the city's maze-like streets, develop enlarged hippocampi. Your brain is not fixed hardware, but ever-changing software, rewriting itself with each passing day. Pain deserves special mention in the story of your nervous system. Pain seems purely negative, but it's evolution's most important teacher. Those born unable to feel pain rarely survive to adulthood. They don't learn to avoid danger, don't notice injuries that need attention. Your pain system is exquisitely calibrated to grab attention without causing unnecessary suffering. Feel any minor discomfort in your body right now. That sensation travels two pathways. Fast pain, carried by myelinated A-delta fibers, tells you exactly where and what, sharp, localized, immediate. Slow pain, carried by unmyelinated C fibers, provides the aching, throbbing aftermath that reminds you to protect the injury. This dual system gives you both immediate warning and lasting reminder. But humans uniquely suffer from anticipated pain. Your consciousness allows you to fear future pain, to remember past pain with visceral clarity. This transforms pain from a momentary teacher to a persistent tormentor. The same consciousness that lets you plan and dream also lets you dread and ruminate. Your nervous system extends far beyond traditional understanding. The enteric nervous system in your gut contains 500 million neurons, more than the spinal cord. This second brain can function independently, controlling digestion without input from above. It produces 90% of your body's serotonin, profoundly affecting mood. When you have a gut feeling, you're accessing this ancient neural network that predates the brain itself. The nervous system's interaction with the immune system reveals another layer of complexity. Your brain can detect infection before you feel sick, altering behavior to promote healing. You become antisocial, seeking solitude to avoid spreading disease. You lose appetite, diverting energy to fighting infection. You feel fatigued, enforcing the rest needed for recovery. What feels like illness is actually your nervous system's healing protocol. Phantom limb syndrome illuminates how your nervous system maps your body. Lose a limb, and the neural representation persists, sometimes for life. The brain continues to monitor a limb that no longer exists, generating sensations from neural echoes. This reveals that your body image lives in your brain as much as in your flesh. But the nervous system, for all its speed and sophistication, had limitations. Some messages needed to last longer, to coordinate changes over hours or days rather than milliseconds. The body needed a slower, more persistent form of communication. 400 million years ago, I drift through the Devonian seas, observing the intricate chemical ballet that predates nerves, that will outlast consciousness. Before any creature had a brain, before the first nerve fired, cells were already whispering to each other through molecular messengers. These chemical conversations, hormones, would become the hidden directors of your emotional life. Place your hand over your stomach. Right now, beneath your palm, dozens of hormones are at work. Ghrelin rising if you're hungry, leptin if you're full, insulin managing your blood sugar, gastrin preparing digestive acids. This chemical symphony plays continuously below consciousness, older than thought itself. Hormones were life's first language. Simple molecules that could drift from one cell to another saying, divide now, danger near, food available. As organisms grew larger, these messages had to travel farther, last longer. The endocrine system evolved, specialized glands that could produce and release these molecular signals into the bloodstream. Let me share with you the story of adrenaline, the hormone of action. I watched its emergence in early vertebrates facing predation. When danger appears, the adrenal glands, small caps atop your kidneys, release this ancient messenger. Your heart pounds faster, your pupils dilate, blood flow shifts from digestion to muscles, sugar floods into your bloodstream. In seconds, you're transformed from a creature at rest to one ready to fight or flee. Feel your heartbeat quicken just thinking about danger. That response is 400 million years old, refined by countless encounters between predator and prey. Every ancestor who felt this surge and survived passed it on. Those whose adrenaline response was too weak, too slow, became meals for others. But adrenaline tells only part of the story. Let me tell you about cortisol, the hormone of sustained stress. In your ancestors, it mobilized energy for long chases, difficult seasons, extended threats. It suppresses inflammation, maintains blood pressure, keeps you functioning when times are hard. But in modern life, where stress is chronic rather than acute, cortisol becomes a burden, wearing down the very body it seeks to protect. Now we come to the hormones of connection, oxytocin and vasopressin. I watched these emerge first in simple creatures to regulate water balance and egg laying. But evolution is endlessly creative. These same molecules, with slight modifications, became the chemicals of love, trust, and bonding. When you hug someone you care about, when you gaze into a lover's eyes, when a parent holds their newborn child, oxytocin floods your system. This is not mere sentiment. It's an ancient bonding mechanism that ensures parents care for offspring, that mates stay together long enough to raise young, that group's cohesion survives. Think of someone you love right now, that warm feeling spreading through your chest. That's oxytocin at work, the same hormone that causes uterine contractions during childbirth, that stimulates milk production, that makes prairie voles monogamous. Love, in a very real sense, is chemistry, ancient chemistry refined by millions of years of social evolution. But why do you feel emotions at all? I've pondered this through the ages. Emotions are evolution's way of making you care about things that matter for survival. Fear keeps you from danger. Anger prepares you to defend resources. Sadness signals need for social support. Joy rewards beneficial behaviors. Disgust keeps you from poison and disease. Each emotion has its chemical signature. Serotonin for contentment and social status. Dopamine for reward and motivation. Endorphins for pleasure and pain relief. These molecules are ancient. Even bacteria use similar compounds for signaling. Your moods are molecular states, refined over billions of years. Consider testosterone and estrogen. These hormones existed long before sex did, originally just cellular signals. But as organisms developed distinct sexes, These molecules were repurposed to coordinate reproduction, to signal readiness, to drive the behaviors that ensure species continuation. The flush of attraction, the drive to compete for mates, the tenderness toward offspring, all choreographed by these molecular maestros. Feel any emotion strongly right now: joy, sadness, calm, excitement. Whatever you're feeling is not just in your head. It's a whole body experience. Hormones released in your brain trigger cascades throughout your system. Your gut produces neurotransmitters. Your heart rate changes. Your skin conductance shifts. Emotion is not separate from your body. It is your body responding to the world. This is why heartbreak physically hurts. Why fear can make you sick. Why joy feels like lightness. Your language reflects this ancient truth. You have gut feelings, hearts that skip a beat, stomachs that drop. These aren't metaphors. They're accurate descriptions of your body's chemical responses. The teenage years reveal hormones' power most dramatically. I watch as puberty's chemical cascade transforms children into adults, not just physically, but emotionally. The mood swings, the intensity of feeling, the desperate need for peer connection, all driven by ancient programs activated by hormonal triggers. Every generation thinks they invented teenage angst, not knowing it's a script written in molecular ink millions of years ago. But here's something remarkable. Your thoughts can influence your hormones, and your hormones can influence your thoughts. When you imagine a stressful situation, cortisol rises. When you practice gratitude, serotonin increases. This bidirectional flow between mind and molecules is uniquely human. We can think ourselves into emotional states, then use those states to change our thinking. Your circadian hormones tell another ancient tale. As darkness falls, your pineal gland, a tiny pine cone-shaped structure deep in your brain, releases melatonin. This hormone of darkness exists in all animals, from humans to algae. It says, "Night has come, time to rest." Fighting this ancient signal with artificial light confuses systems expecting the rhythms of sun and moon. Growth hormone pulses while you sleep, repairing tissues, building memories. This is why children need so much sleep. They're literally growing in the night. Testosterone peaks at dawn, preparing ancient hunters for the day's activities. Cortisol rises before you wake, mobilizing energy for the coming day. Your thyroid hormones set the tempo of your entire metabolism. Too little, and you slow down, feel cold, gain weight. Too much, and you race, feel hot, lose weight. This single gland, shaped like a butterfly at your throat, conducts the metabolic orchestra of trillions of cells. Even your bones are part of this chemical conversation. They release hormones that regulate energy, influence mood, affect memory. Your skeleton is not mere structure. It's an active participant in the endocrine symphony. Consider leptin, the satiety hormone discovered only recently, but ancient in function. Produced by fat cells, it tells your brain when energy stores are sufficient. Those with leptin deficiency never feel full, eating constantly. Their bodies convinced they're starving despite abundance. This single molecule stands between balance and excess, between healthy weight and dangerous obesity. Ghrelin, leptin's counterpart, rises when your stomach is empty. It not only triggers hunger, but enhances memory formation. This makes evolutionary sense. When food was scarce, our ancestors needed to remember where they found it. The growling of your empty stomach is ghrelin calling, sharpening your mind even as it demands feeding. Your stress response reveals hormones' double-edged nature. Short-term stress is adaptive. Cortisol mobilizes energy, sharpens focus, suppresses unnecessary functions. But chronic stress, rare in nature but common in modern life, turns helper into harm. Extended cortisol exposure weakens bones, suppresses immunity, damages the hippocampus where memories form. Your ancient alarm system wasn't designed to be constantly activated. Feel your mood right now in this moment. That emotional state has a chemical signature. If you're calm, serotonin and GABA are keeping neural activity balanced. If you're alert, norepinephrine is increasing vigilance. If you're content, endocannabinoids, yes, your body makes its own cannabis-like compounds, are creating a sense of well-being. Your mood is molecular, but no less real for being chemical. The story of insulin reveals how hormones can go wrong. For millions of years, insulin's job was simple: store excess energy when food was abundant, release it during famine. But modern life presents unprecedented abundance. Constant insulin production, driven by frequent eating and refined sugars, leads to cellular resistance. Type 2 diabetes is your ancient energy storage system overwhelmed by plenty. Sex hormones tell their own complex tale. Testosterone and estrogen existed before sex itself, originally simple cellular signals. As organisms developed separate sexes, these molecules were repurposed, but they do far more than drive reproduction. Testosterone influences confidence, risk-taking, spatial reasoning. Estrogen affects memory, mood, bone density. Both sexes produce both hormones, just in different ratios. The monthly cycling of hormones in women represents one of evolution's most complex regulatory achievements. FSH, LH, estrogen, progesterone, all rising and falling in precise choreography, preparing for potential pregnancy. This cycle, unique among great apes, may have evolved to hide fertility, encouraging pair bonding rather than competition for mates during obvious estrus. Pregnancy hormones create perhaps the most dramatic chemical transformation. Progesterone rises 100-fold, maintaining the uterine lining. Human chorionic gonadotropin doubles every 2 days early in pregnancy. Prolactin prepares for milk production. Relaxin loosens joints for delivery. Oxytocin triggers contractions and later bonding. In 9 months, a woman's endocrine system performs a chemical symphony of staggering complexity. Your gut produces hormones that profoundly affect your mind. That second brain makes 90% of your serotonin, affecting mood more than any antidepressant. Gut bacteria influence these hormones, meaning the microbes in your intestines partially control how you feel. You are not an individual but a colony, your mood influenced by trillions of tiny inhabitants. Melatonin, the hormone of darkness, connects you to every photosensitive organism that ever lived. From algae to humans, this molecule signals night's arrival. But artificial light suppresses melatonin, confusing systems that expect darkness. Your difficulty sleeping may be your pineal gland, that ancient timekeeper, struggling against the eternal day of electric illumination. Growth hormone pulses while you sleep, highest in deep slumber. Children need more sleep partly because they're literally growing in the night. This hormone doesn't just affect height, it maintains muscle mass, strengthens bones, affects metabolism. The phrase beauty sleep has basis in biochemistry. Growth hormone helps repair and regenerate tissues. Endorphins, your internal opioids, reveal evolution's solution to necessary pain. During childbirth, extreme exertion or injury, endorphin levels can rise 50-fold, creating natural analgesia. Runner's high, the euphoria after intense exercise, comes from these internal painkillers flooding your system. Your brain carries its own pharmacy, dispensing relief when needed most. But some hormones we're only beginning to understand. Irisin, released during exercise, may help explain why physical activity improves mental function. FGF21, produced during fasting, might trigger the mental clarity many report when hungry. Osteocalcin from bones influences memory and mood. New hormones are discovered regularly, each revealing another layer of chemical communication. Your hormones don't work in isolation. They form networks, cascades, feedback loops of bewildering complexity. The hypothalamic pituitary axis is like a corporate hierarchy, with the brain sending orders that trigger hormone releases throughout the body. These hormones then report back, adjusting the original signals. It's a conversation, not a command. Environmental hormones add modern complications. Chemicals that mimic estrogen, compounds that block testosterone receptors, substances that disrupt thyroid function. Your endocrine system evolved in a world without synthetic chemistry. These xenohormones confuse ancient signaling systems, potentially affecting fertility, development, behavior in ways we're only beginning to understand. Yet for all the complexity, the basic truth remains. You feel because molecules make you feel. Love, fear, joy, sadness, all have chemical components. This doesn't diminish their reality or meaning. Rather, it reveals the deep integration of mind and body, the impossibility of separating thought from flesh, emotion from chemistry. But humans are not solitary creatures. Our hormones evolved not just to regulate our individual bodies, but to connect us to others, to bind us into groups, to create the social fabric that allowed our species to thrive. 2 million years ago, I stand among your ancestors on the African savanna, watching something unprecedented unfold. These early humans have developed something beyond mere group living. They have discovered empathy, cooperation, and love, not as poetic concepts, but as biological imperatives wired into their very being. This is where you learn to be human. Look at your hands right now. Spread your fingers wide. These hands evolved not just to grasp and make tools, but to communicate, to caress, to comfort. The sensitivity of your fingertips, with their dense concentration of nerve endings, speaks to evolution's understanding that touch would become a language of connection. When you hold another's hand, millions of years of social evolution activate. I've watched the emergence of pair bonding in your lineage. Unlike our closest ape relatives, human ancestors began forming lasting partnerships. The reason was practical. Human infants are born remarkably helpless, requiring years of care. A single parent couldn't gather enough food while protecting such vulnerable offspring. The solution? Love. Not the poetry of love, but its biology. When you fall in love, your brain is flooded with dopamine, creating focus and energy. Norepinephrine generates the racing heart, the sweaty palms, the euphoria. Serotonin drops, creating the obsessive thinking about the beloved. And as attachment deepens, oxytocin and vasopressin take over, creating the calm, deep bonding of lasting love. This neurochemical sequence is not arbitrary. Each phase serves a purpose. The early intensity motivates pairs to overcome obstacles to be together. The later calm attachment keeps them together through the long years of child rearing. Your capacity for romantic love is evolution's solution to the human parenting problem. But love extends beyond romantic pairs. Watch a group of humans anywhere, anytime, and you'll see something remarkable. They synchronize. Their heart rates align when they sing together. Their brain waves match when they converse. Women living together synchronize their menstrual cycles. This biological harmony binds groups below the level of consciousness. Feel what happens when you yawn. Now notice, did thinking about yawning make you want to yawn? This contagious behavior, seen most strongly in highly social species, is empathy made visible. Your brain contains networks that fire both when you yawn and when you see others yawn. This same mirroring occurs with emotions. You literally feel echoes of others' emotional states. Mirror neurons, discovered only recently but evolved long ago, are the basis of empathy. When you watch someone's face contort in pain, your pain centers activate. When you see genuine joy, your reward centers light up. This is not learned behavior. Newborn infants, hours old, will mimic facial expressions. The hardware for connection comes pre-installed. I watched as early humans developed something unique. Whites around the iris, the sclera that makes eye direction obvious. Other primates have dark eyes that hide their gaze. But humans needed to communicate silently, to coordinate hunts, to share attention. Your expressive eyes evolved to be windows, not walls. Think about how much you can communicate with just your eyes. A glance can convey love, warning, humor, invitation. The muscles around your eyes create expressions so subtle that micro-changes reveal true emotions, even when your mouth lies. This is why genuine smiles, Duchenne smiles, involve the eyes. Your ancestors' survival depended on reading these subtle signals. Language itself emerged from this social crucible. I watched as simple alarm calls became more complex. Gestures accompanied vocalizations. The larynx descended, allowing for more varied sounds, but creating the risk of choking. A trade-off evolution deemed worthwhile for the power of speech. Your ability to choke on food is the price paid for language. But before complex language came music. Rhythmic group activities, drumming, chanting, dancing, created social cohesion. When you feel moved by music, when rhythm makes you want to dance, you're experiencing one of humanity's oldest binding mechanisms. Groups that move together, stay together. Your brain devotes massive resources to social processing. The fusiform face area specializes in recognizing faces. You can distinguish thousands of individuals and read their emotional states instantly. You have neurons that specifically track social hierarchies, others that monitor fairness, still others that calculate reputation. Consider gossip, often dismissed as trivial, but actually crucial for group survival. In small bands, knowing who could be trusted, who was reliable, who might cheat, was literally life or death. Your fascination with others' personal lives is not a character flaw. It's an ancient survival tool for navigating complex social environments. Laughter, too, tells a social story. Real laughter is involuntary, hard to fake, and highly contagious. It preceded language as a way to signal all is well, we are safe together. When you share genuine laughter with others, you're participating in an ancient bonding ritual that reduces stress hormones and increases pain tolerance. Feel what happens when someone smiles at you genuinely. That warmth you feel, the automatic smile in return. This is millions of years of evolution saying, this person is safe, reciprocate the signal. Your facial muscles are wired to mirror expressions before your conscious mind even registers them. Connection happens faster than thought. But humans also evolved darker social instincts. Tribalism, the US versus them mentality, emerged when groups competed for resources. Your brain processes in-group faces differently than out-group faces. You more readily empathize with those you perceive as us. This ancient wiring essential for group cohesion in prehistory, creates modern prejudice. Shame and guilt evolved as social control mechanisms. When you feel embarrassed, blood rushes to your face, a signal to others that you acknowledge wrongdoing. This involuntary display helped maintain group cohesion by showing transgression recognition. Your blush is an apology written in blood. Altruism puzzled evolutionists until they understood its logic. Helping relatives preserves shared genes. Helping non-relatives creates reciprocal obligations. Your urge to help others, even at cost to yourself, evolved because groups with altruistic members outcompeted those without. The need for social connection is so fundamental that isolation causes physical pain. The same brain regions that process physical pain activate during rejection. Heartbreak and hurt feelings aren't metaphors. They're accurate descriptions of your social pain system, evolved to keep you connected to others. Your stress response system, designed for physical threats, now activates for social threats. A harsh word can trigger the same fight or flight response as a predator. Public speaking terrifies because your ancient brain equates many watching eyes with danger. Social anxiety is your prehistoric self, trying to keep you safely within group norms. Even your immune system is socially attuned. Loneliness increases inflammation, preparing your body for the injuries that often came with isolation in prehistoric times. Connected people heal faster, live longer, suffer less disease. Love is literally medicine. Touch your own arm gently. Even this self-touch activates comfort systems. Humans are one of the few species that self-soothe through touch. This is why you hug yourself when cold, rub injuries, hold your own hand when nervous. Your skin hunger, the need for physical contact, is as real as hunger for food. I've watched the evolution of human touch, from simple contact to complex communication. Your hands, with their incredible sensitivity, evolved not just for tool use, but for connection. The fingertips contain more nerve endings per square inch than almost anywhere else on your body. When you touch another person, millions of sensors fire, sending information about pressure, temperature, texture, movement. But touch does more than inform. It transforms. Premature infants who receive regular gentle touch gain weight faster, develop better, leave the hospital sooner. Elderly people who receive regular touch show improved immune function, better mood, longer life. Touch is medicine that requires no prescription, therapy that needs no words. Your capacity for emotional contagion reveals the depth of human interconnection. When someone near you yawns, smiles, or shows fear, your brain automatically begins to mirror that state. This happens faster than conscious thought, below the level of awareness. You are literally catching feelings from others, your nervous system synchronizing like tuning forks. Consider the evolution of tears, unique among land animals in their emotional function. All creatures produce tears to protect their eyes, but only humans weep from feeling. I watched this emerge as our social bonds intensified. Emotional tears contain different proteins than reflex tears, including natural painkillers. When you cry, you're not just signaling distress, you're chemically self-soothing while communicating need for support. Make a genuine smile right now, one that reaches your eyes. That expression just activated specific muscles that can't be consciously controlled when faking. The orbicularis oculi around your eyes contract only during real joy. This is why you can spot a fake smile. Your brain evolved to detect authenticity in others' emotions, crucial for navigating complex social relationships. Human facial expressions are universal, recognized across all cultures. Fear, anger, sadness, joy, surprise, disgust. These core expressions emerge in infants born blind, proving they're not learned but hardwired. Your face is a billboard advertising your internal state, evolved for a species that needed to communicate quickly and silently. But you also evolved to hide emotions when necessary. The ability to mask feelings, to present a social face different from inner experience, emerged as groups grew larger and interactions more complex. Your poker face is as much a social tool as your genuine smile. The evolution of language transformed everything. I watched as simple alarm calls became differentiated. Different sounds for different predators. Then combinations emerged. Sounds modifying other sounds. Grammar developed, allowing infinite expression from finite elements. But most remarkably, language became recursive. You can think about thinking, talk about talking, tell stories about storytelling, speak your own name aloud. That sound, unique to you, represents one of humanity's most powerful innovations. Individual identity marked by sound. Names allow reputation, enable gossip, create the possibility of fame or infamy. In small bands where everyone knew everyone, names bound people across time, allowing stories of individuals to outlive them. Your moral emotions, guilt, shame, pride, indignation, evolved to navigate group living. Guilt makes you repair relationships after transgressions. Shame signals acknowledgement of wrongdoing to others. Pride rewards behavior that elevates group status. Indignation motivates punishment of cheaters. These feelings are social navigation tools, evolved for groups where reputation meant survival. Jealousy, often seen as negative, served crucial functions. Sexual jealousy helped ensure paternity in species with long infant dependency. Resource jealousy prevented freeloading. Social jealousy maintained beneficial alliances. The sting of jealousy is evolution's way of protecting what matters for survival. But cooperation posed a puzzle. Why help non-relatives? I watched the solution emerge through reciprocal altruism. Help others, and they'll help you later. But this required memory of interactions, ability to detect cheaters, willingness to punish defectors, your sense of fairness, your outrage at injustice, your satisfaction in revenge, all evolved to maintain reciprocal cooperation. Music predates language in human evolution. I watched groups synchronize through rhythm, drumming, chanting, dancing together. This synchronization created bonding below conscious awareness. When you move in time with others, your heartbeats align, your brain waves synchronize, you literally become more unified. Every culture creates music because music creates culture. A familiar tune right now. That melody activated multiple brain regions, motor areas planning movement, emotional centers processing feeling, memory regions recalling associations. Music is a whole brain experience, which may explain its power to move us. A simple sequence of tones can make you cry, inspire courage, trigger memories, unite thousands in shared emotion. Your need for story is as fundamental as your need for food. I watched as humans became the storytelling species, sharing experiences through narrative. Stories allow you to live thousands of lives, learn from others' mistakes, understand experiences you've never had. Your brain processes stories differently than facts. You remember narratives better, find them more persuasive. Use them to make sense of your own life. Religion and ritual emerged from this social matrix. Shared beliefs bound groups more tightly than kinship alone. Rituals, repeated actions with symbolic meaning, created group identity, marked transitions, provided comfort in uncertainty. Whether you're religious or not, you likely have rituals. morning coffee, birthday traditions, holiday customs that provide structure and meaning. Your capacity for teaching is uniquely human. Other species learn by observation, but humans actively instruct. I watched as parents began not just demonstrating, but explaining, correcting, encouraging. This cultural transmission accelerated evolution. Instead of waiting generations for genetic change, humans could improve within a single lifetime through learning. The dark side of sociality evolved too. Deception, manipulation, cruelty. These emerge from the same social intelligence that enables love and cooperation. The capacity to understand others' minds allows both empathy and exploitation. Your brain's social circuits can be used to help or harm. Yet the overwhelming trend has been toward cooperation. Despite news that suggests otherwise, violence has decreased throughout human history. Your ancestors faced constant threat from other groups. Today, most humans live in unprecedented peace. The same social instincts that once created tribal warfare now enable global cooperation. Feel your connection to others right now, family, friends, even strangers. That web of connection is not metaphorical, but literal. Your brain changes based on your relationships. Social pain and physical pain activate the same regions. Loneliness damages health as much as smoking. You are not designed to be alone. Your very architecture assumes others. But all this social complexity requires regulation, timing, a way to coordinate not just with others, but with the rhythms of Earth itself. 3.5 billion years ago to present. From the very beginning, life has danced with the spinning of our planet. As I've drifted through all of Earth's ages, I've watched every living thing, from the simplest bacteria to you, develop internal clocks that match the rhythm of day and night. This is the final layer of your architecture, the temporal dimension that orchestrates everything else. Notice how you feel right now, at this moment in your day. Whether alert or drowsy, energetic or calm, your state is not random. It's precisely orchestrated by molecular clockwork that ticks in nearly every cell of your body. You are not just a structure in space. You are a pattern in time. The first circadian rhythms emerged in cyanobacteria, protecting their DNA from damage during peak UV hours. Even these simple organisms could anticipate the sunrise, preparing their molecular machinery for the day ahead. This ability to predict, rather than merely react to, Earth's rotation provided such an advantage that it became universal. Your master clock sits in a tiny region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a cluster of 20,000 neurons above the optic chiasm, where your optic nerves cross. This biological timepiece receives light information directly from special cells in your retina that care nothing for vision, only for the presence or absence of light. When morning light hits these cells, it starts a cascade. The pineal gland stops producing melatonin. Cortisol surges, mobilizing energy. Body temperature begins to rise. Heart rate increases. Your entire system shifts from maintenance mode to action mode, all triggered by photons that left the sun 8 minutes earlier. Feel your body temperature right now. You might not notice, but your temperature varies by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the day. Lowest in the early morning hours, highest in late afternoon. This ancient rhythm affects everything. Your muscle strength peaks when you're warmest. Your reaction times are fastest. Your cardiovascular efficiency greatest. But it's not just one clock you carry. It's trillions. Every cell has its own circadian machinery. Genes with names like clock and period that create 24-hour cycles of protein production. Your liver cells know when to produce digestive enzymes. Your muscle cells know when to be most responsive. Your fat cells know when to store and when to release. I've watched what happens when these rhythms are disrupted. Shift workers age faster, suffer more disease. Jet lag isn't just fatigue. It's your trillion clocks struggling to resynchronize. When you eat late at night, your digestive organs receive food when they expect to be resting, creating metabolic confusion that echoes through your system. Your sleep itself is far more than simple rest. As night deepens, you cycle through stages, each serving ancient purposes. Deep sleep early in the night releases growth hormone, repairing tissues, strengthening bones. REM sleep later processes emotions, consolidates memories, runs threat simulations that may save your life. Dreams are perhaps evolution's strangest gift. Your sleeping brain creates entire worlds, populates them with people, invents scenarios that feel completely real. This nightly theatre serves many purposes: problem solving, emotional processing, memory integration. The fact that you forget most dreams is itself adaptive, preventing confusion between real and imagined experiences. Think about your most vivid dream. That bizarreness, that departure from logic. It's your brain making distant connections, finding patterns your waking mind would reject. Many scientific discoveries, artistic inspirations, and problem solutions have emerged from this dream state, where normal rules don't apply. But circadian rhythms govern far more than sleep. Your blood pressure drops at night, reducing strain on your cardiovascular system. Your airways constrict slightly, which is why asthma attacks peak around 4 a.m. Your pain tolerance is highest in late afternoon, lowest in early morning. Surgery outcomes actually vary by time of day. Even your mind follows these rhythms. Alertness peaks in late morning. Creative thinking often flows better when you're slightly tired, when your prefrontal cortex loosens its grip. The post-lunch dip isn't laziness. It's an ancient rest period, seen even in cultures without big lunches. Your metabolism expects meals at certain times. Insulin sensitivity is highest in the morning, lowest at night. The same meal eaten at different times has different effects on blood sugar, weight gain, energy levels. Your ancestors ate with the light, and your body still expects this pattern. Feel any hunger right now? That sensation is partly real need, partly temporal expectation. Your body releases ghrelin, the hunger hormone. At times, you usually eat. Skip a meal regularly, and the ghrelin pulse will fade. Your hunger is trainable, tied to time as much as need. Seasonal rhythms layer atop daily ones. Though modern life masks them, your body knows the lengthening and shortening of days. Melatonin production varies with season. Testosterone peaks in autumn. Birth rates show spring increases. 9 months after summer's long days triggered ancient mating patterns. Some people feel seasonal mood changes more strongly. Winter's darkness genuinely altering their emotional state. This isn't weakness, but sensitivity to rhythms that once governed all human activity. Your ancestors couldn't ignore the seasons. That awareness lives on in you. Your bones are most actively building in the hours after midnight. Your kidneys reduce urine production at night so you can sleep uninterrupted. Your immune system ramps up inflammation in the evening to fight infections while you rest. Even wound healing follows circadian patterns. Injuries sustained during the day heal faster than those at night. Modern life wars against these ancient rhythms. Electric light extends day indefinitely. Screens rich in blue light suppress melatonin. Shift work fractures natural patterns. International travel hurls you across time zones faster than biology can adapt. You live in temporal chaos unknown to any previous generation, yet your body persists in its ancient dance. Even in windowless rooms, even in Arctic summer's endless light, your rhythms continue. They drift without light cues, but never cease. This persistence speaks to how fundamental these cycles are. Not learned behaviors, but encoded necessities. As you prepare for sleep tonight, you're engaging in behaviors shared with creatures throughout history. The drowsiness that overtakes you, the yawning that increases, the cooling of your extremities. All ancient signals that day is done. Your consciousness may resist, but your body knows better. I've watched sleep evolve from simple inactivity to the complex neural symphony it is today. Early organisms simply slowed during unfavorable conditions. But true sleep, with its distinct brain patterns, its paralyzed muscles, its dreams, emerged as brains became complex enough to need offline processing. Your sleep architecture is precisely structured. Every 90 minutes, you cycle through stages. First, the descent into light sleep, your brain waves slowing from beta to alpha to theta. Then deep sleep, where delta waves dominate, where growth hormone pulses, where memories consolidate. Finally, REM sleep, where your brain becomes as active as when awake, where dreams unfold, where emotional experiences are processed. Feel any tiredness in your body right now. That fatigue is adenosine accumulating in your brain, a molecular hourglass that's been filling since you woke. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors, tricking your brain into ignoring this sleep pressure. But the adenosine continues building, which is why, when caffeine wears off, exhaustion crashes over you. All that accumulated sleep debt demanding payment. Your body temperature is dancing its daily rhythm right now. It peaked in late afternoon, enhancing physical performance. Now it's dropping, preparing for sleep. This temperature rhythm is so fundamental that it persists even in constant conditions. Arctic researchers in perpetual daylight still experience this cycle, their bodies remembering a sun they cannot see. But modern life wars against these ancient rhythms. That screen you look at before bed emits blue light that your brain interprets as noon sunshine. Your pineal gland, confused, delays melatonin release. You lie awake, wondering why sleep won't come, not realizing you told your body it's midday. Shift workers suffer profoundly from circadian disruption. I watch their bodies struggle, cortisol rising when it should fall, temperature peaking when it should drop, digestion expecting food during biological night. They age faster, get sick more often, suffer mood disorders at higher rates. The 24/7 society asks bodies to ignore rhythms encoded over billions of years. Your liver cells know what time it is. They produce different enzymes at different hours, expecting food at regular times. Eat late at night, and you're asking your liver to work during its scheduled maintenance period. This mistiming contributes to metabolic disorders. Not just what you eat, but when you eat matters. Women's bodies layer monthly rhythms atop daily ones. The menstrual cycle, unique among great apes, creates a temporal architecture of its own. Temperature rises after ovulation. Sleep becomes lighter. Mood and energy fluctuate predictably. These cycles within cycles create a complex temporal experience that men, with their simpler rhythms, can barely imagine. Seasonal rhythms persist despite modern life's attempts to eliminate them. You might produce more testosterone in autumn, feel sadder in winter, experience energy surges in spring. These patterns, carved by millions of seasonal cycles, remain even if you live in climate-controlled environments under artificial light. Your bones remodel most actively at night. Old bone is broken down, new bone laid down, all while you sleep. This is why night shift workers have higher osteoporosis rates. Their bones miss the optimal rebuilding window. Even your skeleton expects you to sleep when darkness falls. Dreams reveal time's strangest aspect. In dreams, past, present, and future blend. You might be simultaneously child and adult in your childhood home that contains your current furniture. Dream time doesn't follow waking rules. This temporal freedom might be dream's purpose, allowing your brain to make connections impossible in linear time. Age brings changes to these rhythms. Older adults produce less melatonin, sleep less deeply, wake earlier. This isn't necessarily pathology, but adaptation. In ancestral times, having some adults awake at all hours provided protection. Grandparents' early rising might have helped group survival. Your genes themselves keep time. Clock genes with names like period and timeless create molecular oscillations in every cell. These genes are so ancient that versions exist in fungi, plants, bacteria. The ability to anticipate daily changes provided such advantage that it evolved independently multiple times. Jet lag reveals how distributed timekeeping is. Your brain adjusts to new time zones within days, but your liver takes a week, your muscles longer still. You're not experiencing one jet lag but dozens, each organ adapting at its own pace. This temporal chaos explains why jet lag feels so profoundly disorienting, but perhaps most remarkably, your circadian rhythms affect how you think. Morning people and evening people aren't just preferences. They're different chronotypes with distinct patterns of hormone release, body temperature, cognitive performance. Your best time for analytical tasks might be your partner's worst. These differences, frustrating in modern scheduled society, provided evolutionary advantage when someone always needed to be alert. This temporal architecture extends beyond individual bodies. Humans synchronize with each other, heart rates aligning during conversation, brain waves matching during cooperation, menstrual cycles coordinating in close living groups. We are not just timed individually but collectively, our rhythms in training like pendulums in the same room. Even your microbiome follows circadian rhythms. The bacteria in your gut change their activity across the day, different species dominating at different hours. Antibiotic timing affects which bacteria survive. Your internal ecosystem has its own temporal ecology, another layer in the rhythmic symphony. This is the final piece of your architecture, the temporal framework that makes you not just a being, but a becoming. You are never the same from moment to moment. Hormones pulse, neurons fire in patterns, cells divide and die, all choreographed by the spinning of our planet around its star. You began as a single cell that divided. That first division set in motion cycles that continue today. Cells growing, dividing, differentiating, dying, all in precise temporal coordination. You are not a thing but a process, a pattern maintaining itself through time, a dance of molecules that somehow learn to contemplate itself. And this brings us back to where we began. Feel your body now as we've never felt it before. Not as a simple vessel, but as a library of solutions, a museum of innovations, a symphony of ancient wisdom playing out in real time. Every heartbeat echoes the first oceanic waves. Every breath recalls the courage of the first air breathers. Every emotion carries the weight of millions of years of social evolution. But there are mysteries in your body that deserve special attention, quirks and features that seem strange until you understand their deep history. Let me share with you the stories behind the questions you've always wondered about. Why do you get goosebumps when cold or frightened? Run your hand along your arm and feel those tiny bumps rise. This is your body trying to raise fur you no longer have. When your ancestors were covered in hair, this reflex, piloerection, made them appear larger to predators, trapped insulating air when cold. The muscles at the base of each hair follicle still contract, still try to raise protective fur, even though evolution has left you nearly naked. It's a ghost reflex, a memory of your furry past written in smooth skin. Why do you have an appendix, that organ famous only for potentially killing you? This small pouch at the junction of your small and large intestines is not the useless vestige we once thought. In your herbivorous ancestors, it was larger, helping digest tough plant material. As diets changed, it shrank, but found new purpose. Your appendix is now a safe house for beneficial gut bacteria, a reserve that can repopulate your intestines after illness. It's also rich in immune tissue, a training ground for white blood cells. What seems vestigial serves modern purpose. Why do men have nipples? This question reveals the efficiency of evolution's design process. All embryos follow the same body plan for the first several weeks. Nipples form before sex hormones kick in, to differentiate males from females. Rather than evolve two completely separate developmental programs, evolution kept the common template, modifying only what hormones demanded. Male nipples are evidence of nature's good enough engineering. Why fix what isn't broken? Feel the inside of your wrist. Some of you will see a prominent tendon when you touch your thumb to your pinky, the palmaris longus. About 14% of people don't have this tendon at all. It helped your ancestors grip tree branches but serves no modern function. Surgeons happily harvest it for grafts because its absence causes no problems. You might be missing a muscle that helped your ancestors swing through trees, and you'd never know. Why does your lower back hurt so often? Stand up if you can, and feel the curve of your spine. That S-curve is a relatively recent adaptation to upright walking. Your spine evolved for horizontal life, weight distributed along its length. Standing upright put all the pressure on a structure designed for a different job. The lower back, bearing the most weight with the most mobility, suffers from this evolutionary compromise. Your back pain is the price of walking on two legs, a trade-off evolution deemed worthwhile for freed hands and elevated eyes. Why do you have wisdom teeth that often need removal? Your ancestors had larger jaws with room for these third molars, but as brain size increased, jaw size decreased. Cooking food meant less chewing, allowing even smaller jaws. Evolution hasn't caught up. You grow teeth for a jaw that no longer exists. Wisdom teeth are evolution in progress, a mismatch between ancient programming and modern anatomy. Yawn right now if you can. Why is yawning contagious? This behavior, seen most strongly in highly social species, might serve to synchronize group behavior. When one member yawns, signaling tiredness or transition between states, others follow. This could help groups rest together, wake together, maintaining the coordination crucial for survival. Your contagious yawn connects you to the social nature of your species. Why do you see faces everywhere, in clouds, in tree bark, in random patterns? This phenomenon, pareidolia, results from your brain's face detection system being set to high sensitivity. For your ancestors, failing to spot a face in the bushes could mean missing a predator or enemy. Better to see faces that aren't there than miss ones that are. Your brain errs on the side of caution, finding faces in randomness, keeping you safe from threats that no longer lurk. Feel your knee and notice how vulnerable that joint seems. Your knee is another engineering compromise. It needs to lock for efficient standing and walking, yet bend for sitting and running. It must be stable yet mobile, strong yet flexible. The result is a joint prone to injury, held together by ligaments that tear too easily. Your trick knee is the price of bipedal versatility. Why do you get brain freeze when eating cold foods quickly? That sharp headache happens when cold hits the roof of your mouth, causing blood vessels to rapidly constrict, then dilate. This might be your body's attempt to protect your brain from temperature extremes. The pain forces you to stop, preventing potential damage to temperature-sensitive neural tissue. Brain freeze is your body saying slow down in the only language pain understands. Why do your fingers and toes wrinkle in water? This isn't simple waterlogging, but an active process controlled by your nervous system. The wrinkles create channels that improve grip on wet surfaces, like tire treads in rain. Your ancestors who could maintain grip in wet conditions survived better. That prune-like skin is an ancient adaptation for navigating wet environments. Touch your tailbone, the coccyx at the base of your spine. These fused vertebrae are all that remain of your tail. In the womb, you have a true tail that usually disappears by week 8. Sometimes babies are born with tails, revealing this genetic ghost. Your coccyx still serves purpose, anchoring muscles, supporting sitting, but it's mainly a reminder of your tailed ancestry, a vestige of your tree-dwelling past. Why do you get motion sickness? This mismatch between what your eyes see and inner ear feels triggers ancient poisoning responses. For most of evolution, if your balance and vision disagreed, you'd likely eaten something toxic. Nausea and vomiting could save your life. Modern transportation creates sensory mismatches evolution never anticipated. Your car sickness is an ancient defense against poisoning misfiring in the modern world. Feel your throat right now and swallow. That complex action requires precise timing to keep food from your lungs. But your throat does double duty, breathing and swallowing through the same tube. This arrangement, which causes thousands of choking deaths yearly, exists because evolution modified existing structures rather than designing from scratch. Your dangerous throat is the price of evolutionary efficiency. Why do you have hair in seemingly useless places, like armpits and pubic regions? These patches remain from your fully furred ancestry, but why these specific areas? They're scent gardens, trapping and dispersing pheromones. The hair provides surface area for bacteria that create your unique scent signature. Before deodorant and daily washing, these chemical signals conveyed information about health, fertility, and identity. Your body hair is a communication system you've largely silenced. Why does your heart occasionally skip a beat? Those premature ventricular contractions happen when your heart's electrical system misfires. Usually harmless, they reveal your heart's electrical complexity. The same system that maintains perfect rhythm for decades occasionally glitches, reminding you that your heart is not a simple pump, but an electrical marvel prone to occasional static. Feel the bridge of your nose. Why do you have a nose that sticks out when most mammals have flat faces? As your ancestors' faces flattened and jaws receded, the nose had to project to maintain airway efficiency. Your prominent nose also helps warm and humidify air before it reaches your lungs, crucial when your ancestors left warm Africa for colder climates. That bump on your face is an air conditioner evolved for global wandering. Why do you cry emotional tears, unique among land animals? Your tears contain different proteins when you're emotional versus when your eyes are irritated. Emotional tears have more hormones, including natural painkillers. They signal distress to others, eliciting support. They might also help flush stress hormones from your body. Your tears are chemical communication, pain relief, and social bonding all flowing from your eyes. These mysteries in your body, these seeming imperfections and quirks, tell the real story of evolution. Not intelligent design creating perfection, but endless tinkering, modifying what exists, making do with good enough. Your body is a testament to the power of gradual change, of solutions built upon solutions, of new functions emerging from old structures. You are not perfectly designed. You are perfectly evolved for the world your ancestors inhabited. The mismatches between your ancient body and modern life reveal how recently and rapidly human culture has changed. Your body still expects the savannah, still prepares for famines, still watches for predators. That it functions at all in this alien modern environment is testament to the flexibility evolution built into you. Every ache, every quirk, every vulnerability tells a story of trade-offs and compromises stretching back billions of years. You are not broken. You are a masterpiece of jury-rigged solutions, each patch and workaround a clever response to survival's demands. Your imperfections are evidence of your incredible journey. And now, feeling all these ancient systems within you, understanding at last why you are built the way you are, we return to the present moment. Every heartbeat echoes the first oceanic waves. Every breath recalls the courage of the first air breathers. Every emotion carries the weight of millions of years of social evolution. You are not separate from the story of life. You are the story of life, walking around, thinking, feeling, loving. In your bones lie the minerals of ancient seas. In your cells swim the descendants of free-living bacteria. In your brain spark patterns that first flickered in prehistoric pools. Return now to awareness of this moment. Feel your breathing natural and easy, a process refined over 400 million years. Feel your heartbeat steady and sure, pumping an inner ocean through vessels mapped by evolution's patient hand. Feel the thoughts arising in your consciousness, the latest experiment in awareness, built atop layers of simpler systems. You are a colony of cooperating cells, a walking ecosystem, a community of ancient agreements. 37 trillion cells work in harmony to create the experience of being you. Each one carries the full instruction manual of your construction, yet chooses to express only its small part of the whole. Let me share with you the miracles happening in your body right now. Processes so wondrous that if they happen just once, we'd call them supernatural. But because they happen continuously, we barely notice them. Right now, as you listen, your bone marrow is creating 2 million red blood cells every second. Each cell emerges from stem cells that have the potential to become anything: muscle, nerve, bone, but choose to become oxygen carriers. They shed their nucleus, filling themselves with hemoglobin, sacrificing their future for your breath. In 4 months, every red blood cell in your body will be replaced, yet you'll never notice the turnover. Feel the warmth of your skin. That heat comes from 37 trillion tiny furnaces, your mitochondria, burning fuel with precision that would make any engineer weep. They take the food you ate hours or days ago and convert it to ATP, the universal energy currency of life. Every thought, every movement, every heartbeat is powered by these bacterial descendants that agreed to live within your cells 2 billion years ago. Your liver right now is performing over 500 different functions. It's breaking down toxins, producing proteins, storing vitamins, making bile, regulating blood sugar, recycling hormones. If you damage up to 75% of your liver, it will regenerate completely, the only organ that can fully regrow. This 3-pound chemical factory works so quietly you forget it exists. Touch your skin anywhere on your body. You're touching your largest organ, weighing about 8 pounds, covering 22 square feet. Every 28 days, you get entirely new skin as cells journey from the deepest layer to the surface, dying to become your protective barrier. You shed 30,000 to 40,000 dead skin cells every minute. The dust in your home is largely you. Former pieces of yourself set free. Your kidneys are filtering your entire blood supply right now. All 5 liters pass through these fist-sized organs every 30 minutes. They sort through the blood with molecular precision, keeping what you need, discarding what you don't. Each kidney contains 1 million nephrons, microscopic filtering units that would stretch 5 miles if laid end to end. They adjust your blood pressure, make hormones, activate vitamin D, all while you remain unaware. In your intestines, 100 trillion bacteria, 10 times more than your human cells, are helping digest food, making vitamins, training your immune system. You are not an individual, but a walking ecosystem. These microbes influence your mood, your weight, your health in ways we're only beginning to understand. You provide them a home. They help you survive. It's Earth's oldest partnership playing out in your gut. Your immune system is identifying and destroying cancer cells right now. Every day, some of your cells make errors in copying DNA, potentially becoming cancerous. Your natural killer cells patrol constantly, recognizing these rogues and ordering them to self-destruct. You develop and cure cancer regularly, your body handling the threat so efficiently you never know. Focus on your eyes for a moment. Your retinas are performing real-time image processing that surpasses any computer. 130 million photoreceptors turn light into electrical signals. Your brain fills in the blind spot where your optic nerve connects. It stabilizes the image despite constant tiny eye movements. It adjusts for changing light levels across a range of 10 billion to 1. Your eyes and brain work together to create the seamless visual experience you take for granted. Your ears never truly rest. Even in the deepest sleep, they monitor the environment. The 3 smallest bones in your body, the hammer, anvil, and stirrup in your middle ear, amplify sound waves with lever precision. Your inner ear contains fluid-filled canals that detect the slightest head movement, keeping you balanced without conscious effort. You live in a world of sound and balance maintained by structures the size of peas. Right now, your body is maintaining pH within incredibly narrow limits. Your blood must stay between 7.35 and 7.45, slightly alkaline. Stray outside this range and proteins denature, enzymes fail, death follows quickly. Yet you eat acidic foods, produce acidic waste. Exercise creates lactic acid, and your body compensates instantly, maintaining that critical balance through complex buffer systems you never have to think about. Your bones are not dead stone but living tissue, constantly remodeling. Osteoclasts dissolve old bone while osteoblasts build new. Your entire skeleton is replaced every 10 years. This isn't just maintenance. Your bones adapt to the stresses you put on them. Exercise more and they grow denser. Spend time in zero gravity and they weaken. Your skeleton sculpts itself to your life. Consider your joints, masterpieces of engineering that human technology cannot match. Your hip joint, a ball and socket, can support forces up to 5 times your body weight, while maintaining smooth movement. The cartilage is slicker than ice on ice, with a coefficient of friction that engineers dream of replicating. Synovial fluid nurtures the cartilage and provides lubrication that lasts a lifetime, with no external maintenance. Your brain is reorganizing itself based on today's experiences. New dendrites are sprouting, synapses strengthening or weakening, entire networks rewiring. This neuroplasticity continues throughout life. London taxi drivers develop enlarged hippocampi from navigating complex streets. Musicians have expanded motor regions. Your brain physically becomes what you practice. In your mouth, saliva performs magic we barely appreciate. It begins digesting food, kills harmful bacteria, neutralizes acids, helps form the food bolus for swallowing, aids taste, promotes healing, and contains painkillers stronger than morphine. When you cut your tongue and it heals remarkably fast, thank your saliva's growth factors. Your body maintains temperature within a degree or two, despite massive environmental variation. When hot, 2 million sweat glands activate, releasing moisture that evaporates to cool you. A system more efficient than any mechanical cooling. When cold, brown fat cells burn energy just to create heat, while muscles shiver in coordinated waves. This thermoregulation happens automatically, keeping your enzymes at optimal temperature. Right now, your pancreas is performing a chemical balancing act. Beta cells monitor blood glucose continuously, releasing insulin when it rises. Alpha cells release glucagon when it falls. This push-pull system maintains fuel availability to your cells, regardless of when or what you last ate. Type 1 diabetics, lacking this automatic system, must consciously do what your pancreas does unconsciously. And the difficulty reveals the miracle of automatic regulation. Your spleen, that forgotten organ tucked under your ribs, is recycling old blood cells, storing platelets for emergencies, filtering bacteria from blood, and training white blood cells. It can contract during blood loss, releasing stored blood back into circulation. You can live without it, but its quiet work makes life easier and safer. These daily miracles, and thousands more, happen without your awareness or control. You don't have to remember to make blood cells or filter toxins or maintain pH. Your body handles the incomprehensible complexity of staying alive while you focus on living. This is the deepest gift of evolution. Not just that you exist, but that existence is made easy. The hard work happens below consciousness, leaving you free to love, create, explore, dream. Your ancestors' struggles resulted not just in survival, but in grace. The grace of a body that handles the difficult so you can pursue the meaningful. The emotions you feel are not weaknesses or distractions. They are guidance systems honed by millions of years of trial and error. Your fear keeps you safe. Your love bonds you to others. Your anger defends what matters. Your joy rewards what helps. Even sadness serves, calling for support, processing loss, making space for renewal. Your social instincts, the need for connection, the pain of rejection, the warmth of belonging. These are not cultural constructs, but biological imperatives. You are wired for empathy, built for cooperation, designed for love. The longing for others is as fundamental as hunger or thirst. And through it all runs the river of time, the circadian rhythms that connect you to the rotation of Earth, the seasons that echo in your bones, the monthly cycles preserved in your hormones. You are synchronized with the cosmos in ways your conscious mind barely perceives. Now let me share with you how understanding your evolutionary architecture can bring peace to modern struggles. So many of our daily challenges stem from mismatches between the body evolution gave us and the world we've created. Why do you crave sugar and fat so intensely? For millions of years, these were rare, precious sources of concentrated energy. Your ancestors, who sought them out, survived famines better. Your brain rewards you with dopamine for finding them. But now, surrounded by unlimited access to these once scarce resources, your ancient programming works against you. Your obesity epidemic is evolution's success in a world it never anticipated. Why does social rejection hurt so badly? Literally activating the same brain regions as physical pain. For your ancestors, rejection from the group meant death. No individual could survive alone on the ancient savannah. Those who felt rejection as keenly as physical injury were motivated to maintain social bonds, to repair relationships, to stay within the group's protection. Your social anxiety is your ancestors' survival instinct misfiring in a world where rejection rarely threatens life. Why can't you seem to save money, always spending on immediate pleasures rather than future security? Your brain evolved in a world without refrigeration, without banks, without reliable futures. Resources that weren't consumed immediately would spoil or be taken. The grasshopper's strategy of immediate consumption usually beat the ant's planning. Your difficulty with delayed gratification is not weakness. It's ancient wisdom in a world that changed too fast. Why do you find it so hard to exercise when you know it's good for you? Your ancestors got plenty of exercise simply surviving. Rest was precious, energy conservation vital. Those who unnecessarily expended energy were less likely to survive the next famine. Your couch potato tendencies are not laziness, but efficient energy conservation in a world where food scarcity was the norm. Your body doesn't understand that famine isn't coming. Why does chronic stress devastate your health when acute stress saves lives? Your stress response evolved for short-term physical threats. A predator, a fight, a fall. Cortisol and adrenaline prepare you beautifully for brief danger. But modern stressors, deadlines, traffic, social media, trigger the same response without the physical resolution. Your body prepares for a fight that never comes, a run that never happens. The chemicals meant to save you accumulate and harm you. Why can't you sleep well, even when exhausted? Your circadian rhythms evolved with only fire for light after sunset. The bright lights, the blue screens, the 24-hour society tell your ancient brain it's perpetual noon. Your pineal gland, confused, delays melatonin release. You lie awake in biological midday, wondering why sleep won't come. Your insomnia is your body's appropriate response to inappropriate light. Why do you fear public speaking more than death? Standing before a group, all eyes upon you, triggered real danger for your ancestors. Being the center of attention could mean being singled out as weak, different, a target. Your racing heart and sweaty palms are preparing you for physical attack that your conscious mind knows won't come. Your stage fright is ancient wisdom about the danger of standing out. Why does your back hurt, your knees ache, your neck strain? Your body is a compromise between the horizontal orientation of your quadruped ancestors and the vertical stance that freed your hands. Your spine's S-curve, your weight-bearing knees, your forward heavy head, all represent ongoing negotiations between what was and what is. Your aches are the price of walking upright, a bill that comes due daily. Why do you see patterns that aren't there, conspiracies in coincidences? Your pattern recognition system is biased toward false positives because missing a real pattern, that rustling bush is a predator, was fatal, while seeing patterns that weren't there was merely inconvenient. Your conspiracy theories and superstitions are your hyperactive pattern detector, keeping you safe from threats that no longer exist. Understanding these mismatches brings compassion. You're not weak for craving sugar. You're programmed for scarcity. You're not antisocial for fearing rejection. You're wired for survival. You're not lazy for avoiding exercise. You're conserving energy for famines that never come. Your body is not broken. It's perfectly designed for a world that no longer exists. The solution isn't to fight your nature, but to understand it, work with it, create environments that align better with your ancient architecture. Sleep in darkness. Move throughout the day. Eat whole foods your ancestors would recognize. Maintain close social bonds. Spend time in nature. Practice stress-relieving activities that provide the physical resolution your body expects. These aren't just lifestyle choices. They're returns to conditions your body expects and thrives in. Tomorrow, when you wake, you will move through your day different than before. You'll feel your ancient systems engaging. Adrenaline when startled, oxytocin when hugging, melatonin as evening falls. But now you'll know these aren't just reactions. They're conversations with deep time, messages from ancestors who solved the problems of survival and passed their solutions to you. You'll understand why you struggle with certain aspects of modern life, not because you're flawed, but because you're running ancient software in a modern world. This understanding brings not just knowledge but self-compassion. You are not failing at being human. You are a Stone Age human navigating a digital age, and the fact that you function at all is miraculous. You are the inheritor of 3.8 billion years of research and development. Every system in your body is a masterpiece of engineering, tested in the most demanding laboratory of all, the changing Earth. You work, you function, you persist. Against all odds, here you are. As you prepare to sleep tonight, remember, sleep itself is one of evolution's most profound gifts. This nightly descent into unconsciousness, seemingly so vulnerable, proves so valuable that nearly every animal does it. Your brain will sort today's experiences, filing important memories, discarding the trivial. Your cells will repair, your hormones will reset. Your immune system will patrol for invaders. Place your hand over your heart one more time. Feel that rhythm that has never stopped, not once, since before you were born. In the womb, your heart began beating at just 22 days, before your mother even knew you existed. That first flutter set a rhythm that will continue for billions of beats, each one a testament to the reliability of evolved systems. Tonight, as you sleep, miracles will unfold within you. Your cerebrospinal fluid will pulse through your brain in waves, washing away metabolic waste accumulated during the day. This newly discovered system explains why all animals risk the vulnerability of sleep. Without this nightly cleansing, toxic proteins accumulate. Thoughts become clouded. Eventually, neurons die. Your muscles will release their tension, not randomly, but in sequence. First, the small muscles of your face, then neck, shoulders, arms, torso, legs. This progression, the same in every human, reflects the order in which motor control evolved. You relax in reverse evolutionary order, newest systems first, most ancient last. In deep sleep, your neurons will fire in synchronized waves, great slow oscillations that sweep across your cortex like ocean waves across a beach. These waves carry information from temporary storage to permanent memory. Tomorrow, you'll wake knowing things you didn't fully grasp today, problems solved by the quiet work of sleeping neurons. Your immune system has its own nightly routine. White blood cells that patrol your bloodstream by day congregate in lymph nodes at night, sharing information about encountered threats, planning tomorrow's defenses. Antibody production peaks in early morning hours. You literally grow stronger against disease while you sleep. Dreams will come, those strange narratives your brain weaves from the day's fragments. You might dream of flying, a memory from when your ancestors lived in trees, when falling was death, when the ability to catch yourself mattered. You might dream of being chased, ancient predator-prey dynamics playing out in symbolic form. Every human dreams the same basic dreams because we share the same evolutionary pressures. But dreams also process emotions, especially the difficult ones. In REM sleep, your amygdala, the fear center, activates while your prefrontal cortex, the rational controller, deactivates. This allows you to experience emotions without the break of reason, to process feelings too overwhelming for waking life. Dreams are therapy evolved long before therapists. Your body temperature will drop by 2 degrees, saving energy for the cellular work of night. Your digestive system will slow but not stop, processing the last of today's meals, preparing for tomorrow's first hunger. Your liver will work through the night, breaking down toxins, producing the proteins you'll need tomorrow. Feel any remaining tension in your body. That tension is information. Muscles remembering the day's postures, protecting joints that might be vulnerable. But as sleep deepens, even protective tension releases. Trust in the safety of your sleeping place allows full relaxation, complete vulnerability. This trust is itself a gift of social evolution. Only creatures who could count on group protection could afford such deep sleep. Your breathing will slow and deepen. Where you now take perhaps 15 breaths per minute, in deep sleep, you'll take only 8 or 10. This isn't laziness, but efficiency. Slower, deeper breaths actually deliver more oxygen with less effort. Your sleeping body is wiser than your waking mind. Growth hormone will pulse in the first hours of sleep, highest in the deepest slumber. Children grow in the night, literally becoming taller between bedtime and morning. Adults repair and regenerate. Muscle fibers damaged by the day's efforts rebuild stronger, bones remodeled, skin cells replaced. You'll wake tomorrow renewed in ways both subtle and profound. Even your DNA will be repaired tonight. The damage from today's radiation, oxidation, and simple copying errors will be found and fixed by molecular machines that work best in sleep stillness. This is why chronic sleep deprivation ages people rapidly. Without nightly DNA repair, errors accumulate, cells malfunction, systems fail. You'll dream. That strange theater where your brain processes threats and possibilities, where your neurons make connections too wild for waking thought. In sleep, you're not idle, but intensely active, performing maintenance evolved over hundreds of millions of years. Listen to any sounds around you right now. Your sleeping brain will monitor these sounds all night, analyzing each for threat even while you're unconscious. A familiar sound, your partner's breathing, your cat's movement, won't wake you. But an unfamiliar sound, especially one suggesting danger, will instantly rouse you. This selective attention during sleep kept your ancestors alive. Your body temperature will drop, your heart rate slow, your breathing deepen. These changes aren't random, but precisely orchestrated. Each serving purposes refined since the first creatures alternated between activity and rest. You're joining a rhythm as old as life itself. In the deepest sleep, something profound occurs. Your sense of self dissolves. The default mode network, active whenever you're awake and not focused on tasks, finally quiets. For a few hours each night, you cease to be you and become simply a biological process maintaining itself. This ego death and rebirth happens nightly, so gently you don't notice. Rest now in the knowledge that you are perfectly designed by time itself. Every challenge your ancestors faced left its solution in your architecture. You are not a rough draft, but a final edition, polished by millions of years of revision. Your hands, resting now, contain 27 bones each, more than a quarter of all your bones just in your hands. This complexity evolved for tool use, for communication, for gentle touch. Tomorrow those hands will create, will connect, will continue the work of being human. But tonight they rest, all their potential temporarily quiet. Your eyes, closed now, will dart back and forth during REM sleep, following dream images. This rapid eye movement gave the sleep stage its name, but why eyes move during dreams remains mysterious. Perhaps you're literally watching your dreams, or perhaps the movement itself helps generate the imagery. Even in sleep, mysteries remain. When morning comes, cortisol will rise to wake you. Your temperature will climb, your heart will quicken, and you'll rise to face another day, carrying within you all the tools evolution could devise for thriving in this world. But that's tomorrow. Tonight, let your ancient systems do what they know so well how to do. Let your breathing slow. Let your muscles soften. Let your magnificent brain begin its nightly maintenance. Feel yourself sinking into sleep's embrace. You are Earth's greatest experiment, a collection of atoms that learn to wonder about itself. You are the universe becoming conscious, time becoming aware of time, matter contemplating matter. You are, in the deepest sense, the cosmos knowing itself. Each electron in your body has existed since the first moments after the Big Bang. The protons and neutrons formed in the first minutes as the universe cooled. The heavier elements, the carbon in your cells, the iron in your blood, were forged in stellar cores and scattered by supernovae. You are made of cosmic ash, stellar debris organized into consciousness. But here we approach the greatest mystery of all. How does mere matter become aware? How do chemical reactions become feelings? How does cellular activity become the experience of being you? I have watched consciousness emerge slowly over the eons, and still its nature eludes complete understanding. It began perhaps with the simplest awareness, the ability of a cell to distinguish self from other, inside from outside. This basic discrimination, this primordial me versus not me, may have been the first dim spark of what would become consciousness. Then came sensation, the ability to detect and respond to the environment, not just mechanical response, but something approaching experience. Did the first eye spot that detected light experience something we might call brightness? When did chemical detection become the experience of smell? These transitions remain shrouded in mystery. Memory added another layer, not just responding to the present, but influenced by the past. Learning from experience required some form of information storage, some way for past to influence present. With memory came the possibility of anticipation, planning, the mental modeling of possible futures. Feel your own consciousness right now. Notice how you can be aware of being aware. This metacognition, thinking about thinking, represents consciousness turned upon itself. You can examine your own mental states, question your beliefs, imagine yourself from another's perspective. This recursive self-awareness may be uniquely human, or shared with just a few other species. But consciousness brings suffering unknown to simpler creatures. You alone among Earth's animals can suffer from events that haven't happened, may never happen. You fear future pain, regret past mistakes, compare your reality to imagined alternatives. Your consciousness creates an inner world of possibility that can torment as easily as delight. Yet consciousness also enables transcendence. You can find meaning in suffering, purpose in struggle, beauty in the mundane. You can choose to act against instinct, to sacrifice for principle, to create for creation's sake. You are not merely pushed by causes, but can be pulled by purposes you yourself imagine. The question of how neural activity becomes subjective experience, what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness, remains unsolved. We can map which brain regions activate during different experiences, but the leap from objective activity to subjective experience remains mysterious. How does the firing of neurons become the redness of red, the painfulness of pain, the joy of joy? Perhaps consciousness is fundamental to the universe, not emerging from complexity but revealed by it. Perhaps every particle has some primitive form of experience, and complex arrangements like brains allow these micro-experiences to combine into unified consciousness. Or perhaps consciousness emerges from information integration, from the binding of separate processes into a unified whole. What is certain is that you experience. You are not just processing information, but feeling it. The universe has become aware of itself through you. In your consciousness, cosmos contemplates cosmos. Time perceives time, matter questions matter. Your consciousness colors everything. The same objective events can be heaven or hell, depending on your mental state. A sunset is just light refracting through atmosphere, yet it can move you to tears. A piece of music is just pressure waves in air, yet it can transport you to other times and places. Your consciousness transforms mere physics into meaning. Even your sense of self is a construction of consciousness. The feeling of being a unified I emerges from countless separate processes. Your brain creates the illusion of a single experiencer, a captain at the helm, when in reality, you are more like a parliament of competing drives and systems, with consciousness as the story told afterward about why you did what you did. Notice your stream of consciousness right now, how thoughts arise unbidden, flow one into another, disappear without trace. You don't choose most of your thoughts any more than you choose your heartbeat. They emerge from unconscious processes, appear in awareness, trigger other thoughts, fade away. You are as much audience as author of your mental life. Yet within this flow, choice appears to exist. You can direct attention, inhibit impulses, imagine alternatives. Whether free will is real or illusion, the experience of choosing is undeniable. And perhaps that's enough. Perhaps the feeling of freedom, the sense of agency, is what matters for living a human life. Your consciousness extends beyond your skull. When you use a tool, your brain incorporates it into your body map. The hammer becomes an extension of your hand. When you drive, the car becomes an extension of your body. Through language and culture, your consciousness mingles with others, creating collective awareness that transcends any individual. And consciousness makes you capable of this very contemplation. You can think about your place in the universe, wonder about your origins, imagine your future. You can feel awe at your own existence, gratitude for the improbability of being here at all. This capacity for wonder may be consciousness's greatest gift. You are more than the sum of your particles. You are the patterns they form, the dances they dance, the information they encode. You are process more than product, verb more than noun, becoming more than being. And that process continues even in sleep, especially in sleep. Sleep well, inheritor of deep time. Dream deeply, carrier of ancient wisdom. Rest in the perfection of your improbable existence. Tomorrow, you continue the journey that began 3.8 billion years ago. But tonight you simply rest, held in the architecture of time, cradled by the wisdom of ages, perfect in your ancient and ongoing becoming. Let sleep take you now. Let the ancient rhythms rock you. Let the wisdom of billions of years hold you safe. You are home in your body, home in time, home in the universe that dreamed you into being. In every beat of your heart, the ocean remembers. In every breath, the courage of the first air breathers lives on. In every dream, consciousness explores its own depths. In every cell, the contract of cooperation holds. In every emotion, the wisdom of survival guides. In every moment of rest, the rhythm of planets turns. You are the living archive of Earth's greatest story. And the story continues. In you, through you, as you. Rest now. Rest in the perfection of what you are. Rest in the wonder of how you came to be. Rest in the knowledge that tomorrow you'll wake as Earth's most successful experiment. But tonight you return to the ancient darkness, the peaceful unconsciousness from which all consciousness springs, the quiet from which tomorrow's symphony will rise. You are the universe's way of knowing itself. And even in sleep that knowing continues, in the firing of neurons, in the pulse of blood, in the turn of earth beneath you. Sleep now, child of time. Sleep now, descendant of stars. Sleep now, perfect pattern of improbable existence. Feel one last time the miracle that you are. In your veins flows the salt of ancient oceans. In your bones lies the calcium of prehistoric shells. In your DNA coils the wisdom of every survivor who came before. You are not separate from nature. You are nature become conscious of itself. Every atom in your body has been on an incredible journey, forged in stars, scattered in supernovae, gathered into earth, cycled through rock and rain, plant and animal, until finally, temporarily, beautifully, arranged into you. You are a momentary constellation of eternal particles, a brief gathering that thinks and feels and loves. Your heart will beat approximately 2.5 billion times in your lifetime. Each beat a continuation of the rhythm that began billions of years ago. Your lungs will draw 600 million breaths, each one participating in the great exchange between you and the world. Your thoughts, countless as they are, emerge from the same process that first wondered at its own existence. Tomorrow, you'll wake as you have thousands of times before, but perhaps with new appreciation for the commonplace miracle of waking. Your eyes will open, those modified patches of skin that became windows to the world. Your consciousness will reassemble from the fragments of dreams. You'll rise on limbs designed for trees but repurposed for ground, balanced on a spine meant for horizontal life, but curved for verticality. You'll navigate your day with a brain that modeled itself on the world, that carries maps of space and time, self and other, past and future. You'll speak with a voice box that nearly chokes you, but grants you language. You'll love with a heart that could just pump blood, but learn to feel. You'll think with matter that could just exist, but chose to question existence. And through it all, trillions of processes will continue beneath your awareness. Cells will divide with ancient precision. Proteins will fold into impossible shapes. Neurons will fire in patterns of meaning. Hormones will whisper chemical messages. Bacteria will tend their gardens in your gut. Mitochondria will burn their quiet fires. All of it coordinated, all of it connected, all of it you. You are the universe's way of looking at itself, of touching itself, of knowing itself. You are the cosmos awakened, time made conscious, matter that learned to love. In you, the eternal finds expression in the temporary. Through you, the infinite experiences the finite. So sleep now, for even sleep is a miracle. The strange gift of unconsciousness that makes consciousness possible. Let your ancient systems do their nightly work. Let your dreams sort the day's experiences. Let your cells repair and renew. Let your mind rest from the burden and gift of awareness. The story continues. The dance goes on, in you, through you, as you, always in you. Until tomorrow brings another day of the cosmos, knowing itself through your eyes. Another day of time experiencing itself through your moments. Another day of matter celebrating itself through your joy. Another day of the universe loving itself through your heart. But that's tomorrow. Tonight you rest. Tonight you return to the darkness from which all light emerges. Tonight you join the ancient rhythm of rest and renewal. Tonight you are perfect in your improbable existence. Sleep now, beautiful arrangement of stars. Sleep now, exquisite pattern of possibilities. Sleep now, cherished child of deep time. The universe dreams in you, and you in it, forever and always, in the great dance of becoming.